Chapter 1782, A Crisis of Life and Death. Unless I shoot both strands of profound sword chi, it'll be very difficult for me to deal heavy damage to the python with the toughness of its body. However, the trapped soul seems to fear my profound sword chi very much. Jian Shen immediately thought of this when he saw the soul's reaction. Just like last time, he struggled to damage the python in an open battle, but the soul became extremely frightened as soon as the profound sword chi appeared. Even though he knew that Jian Shen would struggle to injure him with just a single strand of profound sword chi, he was still terrified. "If you keep standing in my way, I'm not going to hold back," Jian Shen said coldly. His 2 strands of profound sword chi were extremely valuable. If he could scare away the python, he would rather not use them. I'll move. The trapped soul controlled the python to move far away as it looked towards Jian Shen with fear. However, upon closer inspection, it was quite obvious that it did not fear Jian Shen. Instead, it feared the 2 strands of profound sword chi above Jian Shen's head. Jian Shen ignored the soul and charged towards Master Chanlong, who was casting down formations. His gaze was icy cold as he shot over as a streak of light. Killing intent surged from him, and he launched the 2 strands of profound sword chi at the same time. Swish! Swish! The 2 strands of profound sword chi whistled through the air gently as they shot towards Master Chanlong with unbelievable speed. Master Chanlong had understood the power of the profound sword chi long ago, so he immediately used his 8 trigrams to block it. At the same time, he completed the final line of inscriptions and bellowed out. The formation suddenly activated, surrounding a region of 100 kilometers. Boom! At the same time, the profound sword chi flew over with unbelievable speed, slamming into Master Chanlong's 8 trigrams disc. The inscriptions on the 8 trigrams disc flickered and dulled. The disc was pushed back and immediately slammed into Master Chanlong's body, shattering the layer of protective inscriptions on him. Master Chanlong paled, but before he had time to catch his breath, the 2nd strand of profound sword chi struck his 8 trigrams disc heavily. The inscriptions on the disc were all reduced to nothingness after taking on 2 consecutive profound sword chi. The entire disc faded and lost all its color before slamming into Master Chanlong again from the great force. Spurt! Master Chanlong vomited blood as he was blown away like a broken kite. He was powerful, but his body was nowhere near as tough as Jian Shen's. After the disc struck him twice, he became extremely injured. The 2nd strike caused an especially great amount of damage. Not only had all his organs and bones been reduced to mush from the terrifying force, but blood oozed out from his pores, dyeing him red. Master Chanlong directly fell out from the sky and struck the ground heavily. It created a deep pit as he lay in there while breathing heavily. He was now powerless, unable to even climb to his feet. If it were not for his cultivation that protected his body, the 8 trigram disc would have probably reduced him to a blood splat. After all, he had not been struck by regular attacks but the god-tier sword technique, the profound sword chi. More importantly, it was a sword technique that had reached the apex of god tier. Even with Jian Shen's current strength, he was unable to display the full might of the profound sword chi. However, it was more than enough to deal with over-gods, particularly when he used 2 strands at the same time. Now, Jian Shen had entered the formation space. He had been taken to a fire-red world that was filled with terrifying heat. It was even enough to burn the air. There were endless chains of volcanoes and pools of magma below him. The volcanoes all spat out fire. It was not ordinary fire, but fire with the power of laws condensed from the laws of fire. The laws had reached the level of over-gods. Even the pools of magma were filled with the power of the laws of fire. Even gods would be burnt to a crisp if they fell into these pools. Jian Shen became rather stern. Master Chanlong was not skilled in open battle, but he possessed great mastery over formations. He had even garnered the title of Formation Master. As a result, Jian Shen feared Master Chanlong's formations very much, and he was unwilling to give him the time to cast any down at all. Unfortunately, he still failed to stop Master Chanlong, allowing him to cast one down successfully. At this moment, the space around Jian Chen trembled gently. Space rippled slightly as the terrifying heat in the surroundings soared at an unbelievable rate. It was so hot that even deities would be burnt to ashes in such an environment. The endless chains of volcanoes beneath Jian Chen spat out huge pillars of fire towards the sky. From a distance, it seemed like the ascent of fire dragons, making for a grand and majestic sight. They also seemed like pillars that held up the heavens, supporting the world and creating a shocking sight. Jian Chen's face changed drastically when he saw the pillars of fire appear. He consumed the last soul recovery pill he possessed without any hesitation and charged towards the pillars of fire quickly. At that moment, he sensed a threat. It was the greatest threat he had sensed ever since his arrival at the Saints' World. It had even exceeded what he felt in the hopeless situation he faced in God King Duanmu's dwelling. The appearance of the threat made Jian Chen go crazy. He roared out as he pushed himself to release all the potential in his body, attacking the pillars of fire with his full strength. He could already tell that the pillars of fire that connected the earth and heavens were about to change into another formation, and the formation was enough to threaten his life. Master, destroy the pillars of fire immediately. Once the pillars of fire turn into a formation again, they'll even be able to kill weaker god kings. The sword spirits' voices rang out in Jian Chen's head as they panicked. Very clearly, Jian Chen truly faced a life-threatening danger this time. The sword spirits that rarely spoke after he had come to the Saints' World had been roused. Master Chanlong lay on the ground as he stared at the formation he had cast down. He wanted to move his arms. However, as soon as he tried to do anything with them, a heart-wrenching pain appeared, and his forehead became covered with beads of sweat. The second form of the formation needs my personal guidance to be completed. Once it reaches the second form, Jian Chen is dead for sure. Master Chanlong clenched his teeth as craziness filled his eyes as well. He endured the pain as he tried to move his arms. The second form required the corresponding hand seals to activate, and hand seals required fingers. However, right now, even all his bones had shattered, let alone his two hands. He was unable to move his body at all. Chanlong, you alright? The trapped soul swished its tail as it arrived before Master Chanlong slowly. It sighed gently as it looked at Master Chanlong, and then it said seriously, Chanlong, I thought you'd die to that kid in 100 years' time, but it looks like it'll be today instead. You can't kill that kid unless you complete the second form. Cut the bullshit. Grab my healing pills. I need to heal my arms immediately and complete the second form, Master Chanlong said weakly. All right. Although I know it's very difficult for you to kill the kid today, but I still do hope you can kill him. I really don't like his 2 strands of sword chi, the trapped soul said. Afterwards, it extended an illusionary arm to take out pills from Master Chanlong's space ring and directly fed him the pills. Chapter 1783. Breaking out with full force. Master Chanlong's medicine was nowhere near as potent as the 9 refined life-giving pill from Tong Tian, but it was clearly of high quality. The pills immediately transformed into a powerful healing force as soon as it reached his stomach, expanding through his body. It began to heal Master Chanlong's wounds. However, Master Chanlong directed all the medicinal effects to his arms. He wanted to recover his arms in the shortest amount of time possible and complete the second form of the formation so that he could kill Jian Chen. Hurry up. Hurry up. This is too slow, Master Chanlong worried inside. He had witnessed Jian Chen's power, and Jian Chen's terrifying recovery rate had shocked him greatly. If he could not complete the second form of the formation that he had cast down after so much effort, he would not be able to kill Jian Chen. Quick, feed me all the pills, said Master Chanlong. He did not find the healing speed to be fast enough. Jian Chen attacked a pillar of fire that reached into the sky in the formation space with full force. Deafening booms constantly rang out. He used the Daluo sword and the Tai sword technique time and time again. He even used his fists. Jian Chen's attacks could be described as a storm-like barrage right now. It was extremely intense, and even mid-over gods would not be able to endure something like that. However, when he barraged one of the fire-red pillars, he actually failed to destroy it. Jian Chen calmed down and stopped. He became extremely stern. He glanced past the countless pillars that reached into the sky and growled, "Each pillar is connected to the formation space. They're all interconnected. Attacking a single pillar is equivalent to attacking all the pillars here, or even the formation space itself. My attacks have been completely dispersed. Unless my attacks surpass what the formation space can withstand, I won't be able to smash through this formation. This formation is extremely powerful. Even if I shoot out my 2 strands of profound sword chi at the same time, I won't be able to destroy it forcefully. Looks like I can only go with a second option, and that's to waste away the energy of the formation as quickly as possible. Once it loses all its energy, the formation will crumble by itself." Jian Chen sat down. As the effects of the soul recovery pill expanded, the power of his soul recovered rapidly. In just a few seconds, Jian Chen's eyes snapped open. A strand of profound sword chi had appeared above his head, and without any hesitation, he shot it out directly towards the pillar before him. Boom! A deafening boom rang out in the formation space. The entire formation trembled gently after taking on the attack from the profound sword chi, and it quickly flickered in color, dulling a lot. Daluo sword. Tai sword technique. Sky-severing strike. Jian Chen immediately used his various sword techniques after shooting the profound sword chi. Chaotic force revolved around his fist as he hurtled it towards the pillar time and time again. After consuming a large number of pills, Master Chanlong finally recovered some mobility with his arms. Without any hesitation, he immediately gritted his teeth and raised his arms slowly while enduring the pain. He began to form the necessary hand seals. As his hands still had not completely recovered, he formed hand seals extremely slowly. Each new seal would cause him tremendous pain, and his face would pale while his forehead became covered with sweat. As Master Chanlong went from one hand seal to the next, all the pillars of fire in the formation space exploded with light. The countless pillars slowly began to move. The formation was changing. "No, Master, use the twin swords. You can't let the pillars of fire change into another formation. Once the formation within the formation is complete, even weaker god kings can be slain," the sword spirit's voices rang out in Jian Chen's head. Master Chanlong really is worthy of being a formation master. His formations can actually threaten god kings while he's just a late-over god, thought Jian Chen. Although he had fallen out with Master Chanlong already, he still had to admire Master Chanlong's mastery over formations. Suddenly, azure and violet light rose up from Jian Chen's body. In a time of life or death, Jian Chen could no longer worry about the consequences of having the twin swords exposed. He directly drew them. He wielded the Qing Suo sword in his left hand, while he held the Ziying sword in his right. Huge beams of light emitted from the tips of the swords. As he swung them around, the beams of light sliced at the fire-red pillars with devastating might. Although the twin swords were of the same grade as the Flying Snow Sword, the Flying Snow Sword was nowhere near them in terms of power because the twin swords possessed sword spirits. After so many years of recovery, Ziying and Qing Suo had made some progress even though they were still nowhere near their peak condition. They had been recovering countless times faster than on the Tian Yuan continent after coming to the Saints' World. As a result, the two swords now possessed some power from the sword spirits. A burning presence suddenly appeared on the Ziying sword as terrifying power was being charged up. The Qing Suo sword emitted a chilling presence. It was frigid, enough to freeze off entire regions. It was also extremely terrifying. The sword spirits were using their power source, which was the Supreme Yang Force and Supreme Yin Force. Supreme Yang and Supreme Yin arose from chaos, so they were also known as Supreme Yin Force and Supreme Yang Force. They were so powerful that they ranked towards the top among the 3,000 ways, no weaker than the power of the way of the sword, the laws of destruction, or the way of slaughter. In fact, it was even slightly stronger than the laws that were known to possess the greatest offense. If Supreme Yin and Supreme Yang were united, they would directly create chaotic force. That was the most terrifying power in the world. However, Ziying and Qing Suo had not fully recovered yet, so their Supreme Yin and Supreme Yang force did not possess the power it did when they were at their prime. Outside, Master Chanlong moved between hand seals painfully and arduously. Excitement had appeared in his eyes. He was about to complete the second form. Just one last seal. Master Chanlong smiled victoriously. He had finally relaxed his nervous heart at that moment as well. Rumble. At this moment, a deafening sound rang through the surroundings. Violet and azure sword chi surged into the sky, dyeing the entire region violet and azure. However, the light vanished in just a split second as if everything before was just an illusion. The formation cast down by Master Chanlong high up in the sky had been ripped open. Jian Chen emerged from it in a rather horrible shape. His gaze was cold and filled with heavy killing intent. Chapter 1784, Chanlong's flight. Master Chanlong's face became extremely ugly as he looked at Jian Chen, who had broken out. He knew he had lost his chance to kill Jian Chen. Moreover, in his current condition, he had even lost the basic ability to move, let alone battle. Let's go. Quick, there's a teleportation formation disk in my space ring. Let's leave here quick, Master Chanlong said to the trapped soul. His voice was filled with regret. He was so close. He was so close to killing Jian Chen. Chanlong, you finally realized it. You might not be able to live for another 100 years, but living for a few years longer is always better than dying here, the trapped soul said seriously to Master Chanlong. His stern voice made it seem like he was not making fun of or joking with Chanlong. It was also at this moment that a bright, white light surrounded Master Chanlong and the trapped soul. They immediately vanished. The teleportation disc had transported them away. Boom! Just after they were sent away, a golden sword chi struck the deep pit where Master Chanlong lay in earlier. Dust and sand were immediately kicked into the air with a boom. In the distance, Jian Chen hovered in the sky. Even though he was rather pale and was in a rather horrible shape, his cold eyes shone brightly. His presence was prominent as sword intent surged towards the sky. I actually let him escape. Jian Chen gazed in the direction where Master Chanlong had vanished from. His killing intent did not decrease and became even heavier than before instead. Master Chanlong had forced him to use the twin swords. Although he put the swords away immediately when the formation was destroyed, he did not know whether Master Chanlong could see what was happening within the formation. It's fine if he hasn't seen it, but if he has, I can't keep Master Chanlong around. I have to kill him no matter where he flees off to, thought Jian Chen. In reality, his relationship with Master Chanlong had deteriorated so much that even if Master Chanlong did not see the twin swords, Jian Chen might not have planned on sparing him anyway. Jian Chen sucked in a deep breath and slowly dispersed his presence, making him seem normal again. He gazed into the distance at the provincial city that a formation still enveloped and did not make his way over immediately. Instead, he flew further away. Before long, Jian Chen found a hidden place within a mountain range and began to heal himself. He planned to recover his strength. Naturally, the wounds from the battle healed very quickly thanks to the superior regeneration of the chaotic body. However, his drained power of the soul did not recover as quickly as his body. Now that he had used up all the soul recovery pills as well, the power of his soul would recover extremely slowly. Master, the twin swords are extremely heavily damaged. They can't be used any longer. You need to find materials of higher grades to refine them again, said Ziying. Once I get out of here, I'll go collect the materials, said Jian Chen. Due to the limitations of their materials, the quality of the current swords was just too low. They were unable to withstand the powers of the sword spirits. The sword spirits had used Supreme Yang Force and Supreme Yin Force when Jian Chen smashed through the formation, so the swords became heavily damaged. They were covered in cracks and could fall apart at any time. As Jian Chen recovered, several dozen gods hovered in the sky within the provincial city. Not only were there the ancestors of the powerful clans in the city, but there were also people from other provinces and other divine kingdoms. Even though they had been trapped by the formation, they had completely forgotten about it at that moment. They all hovered in the formation as they looked in the same direction. To no surprise, they were looking at where Jian Chen and Master Chanlong had fought. The formation had restricted the senses of their souls, so they were unable to expand them. However, they could clearly sense the powerful and terrifying shockwaves of energy from there. The shockwaves were so powerful that even from 1,000,000 kilometers away, they all leapt in fright. There are two overgods fighting. Looking at the disturbance, they should be mid-overgods. Looks like the two overgods are going at each other's throats in this battle of life and death. I just don't understand why they had to cast down such a powerful trapping formation to keep us all inside the provincial city. This trapping formation was cast down silently, right before all our noses. Looks like the overgod who cast it down had been scheming about it long ago. I'm guessing that he probably wanted to use the formation to trap his opponent after they entered the city and kill them after that. What a vicious person. Does he plan on wiping out our city like that? If two overgods begin fighting in our city, the defensive formation of our city definitely won't be able to withstand it. How many people will be able to survive the shockwaves? The gods all discussed. Many of them were rather pale as they felt lucky. Fortunately, the two terrifying overgods did not begin fighting within the city, or the outcome would have been unthinkable. At the same time, everyone became riddled with hatred towards the overgod that had cast down the formation. Of course, they did not dare to voice their hatred. The battle in the distance has stopped. Has the battle between the two overgods ended? At this moment, a god said. It's a pity that we don't know the outcome and who won. It must be the person who cast down the formation. When the formation was activated, I heard someone say, "You really have come to the provincial city. Where do you think you're going? You're staying right here." Just that's enough to decide the victor. I hope that overgod who trapped us here can come back and remove this formation, or we'll be stuck here for a very long time. Many of the gods sighed inside. They were filled with helplessness. The person who had trapped them was an overgod. No matter how displeased they were, they had to put up with it. They did not dare to vent their anger. However, the gods in the city waited for quite some time, but no overgod came to remove the formation. As a result, no one could enter or leave the city. At this moment, a white-bearded old man in white robes suddenly appeared in the sky above the provincial city. Chapter 1785. The Grand Imperial Protector. The old man seemed extremely ordinary. He did not stand out at all and was just like any other person. He stood there as he gazed emotionlessly at the sealed city below him. At that moment, his gaze sharpened. Chanlong sure is bold to seal up a provincial city of our divine kingdom of Pingtian. Do you really think that our divine kingdom is your garden, where you can do whatever you want? With that, the old man extended his hand and gently pressed down towards the tremendous formation. Space seemed to sync with the gesture, and the formation that enveloped the entire provincial city seemed as fragile as glass, directly cracking and collapsing. It was unable to withstand a casual movement from the old man. It's the Grand Imperial Protector. Greetings to the Grand Imperial Protector. The people from the clans in the city all discovered the old man, and they became excited. Without any hesitation, they immediately bowed towards the old man deeply. Admiration covered their faces. The Grand Imperial Protector possessed an extremely great status within the Divine Kingdom. It could even be described as supreme. This was because the Grand Imperial Protector was a God King. Aside from the Divine King, only the Grand Imperial Protector was a God King in the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian. The white-bearded old man clasped his hands downwards. He did not mind the god's politeness. He said coldly, "Chanlong has actually publicly sealed up the provincial city of one of our 36 provinces. He's provoking our Divine Kingdom with such actions. From today onwards, our Divine Kingdom forbids his entry. If he comes, I'll personally kill him." What? It was actually Master Chanlong who sealed up our provincial city. The gods all became surprised when they heard that it was Chanlong. Master Qianlong was a famed formation master. He possessed extremely great mastery over formations, and his personal cultivation had reached late over God, making him famed in the surrounding divine kingdoms. With a single movement, the white-bearded old man disappeared silently. When he reappeared, he had arrived at the location where Jian Chen and Master Qianlong had fought against each other. Their battle had left the place completely distorted. The ground had sunk and was rippled with cracks, and the chaotic origin energy in the surroundings still had not settled down. There's residual laws of the sword here. In this region, apart from Ling Hogong who has reached over God with his laws of the sword, there's only that Jian Chen who suddenly appeared. The white-bearded old man hovered in the sky as he observed the surroundings. Looks like it was Jian Chen who fought Qianlong. From the residual presences and some traces, there should have been 3 people taking part in the battle. The third person must have been Qianlong's trapped soul. The old man suddenly closed his eyes. Using his cultivation at God King, he carefully sensed the traces and marks left here. When he opened his eyes, he looked in a certain direction, and to no surprise, that was the direction where Jian Chen had traveled off to. There are strands of Jian Chen's presence here. Looks like he left in that direction. There's a large amount of blood in the deep pit. The presence of the blood matches Qianlong's presence extremely well, except it is a little chaotic at the same time. It's caused by a teleportation formation disk, and Master Qianlong's presence ends there as well. Looks like in the battle between the two, Qianlong was defeated. The white-bearded old man could not help but gasp when he reached this point in his analysis despite his great mental fortitude. He found it to be rather unbelievable. This was because according to the information he possessed, only Jian Chen's comprehension of the laws of the sword had reached the level of overgods, while his personal cultivation was pitifully weak. Although he possessed a powerful trump card, as long as late overgods were careful, it would not be able to threaten them. However, in the battle against Master Qianlong, Qianlong had actually suffered defeat even with the assistance of the soul. He found this rather difficult to believe. Looks like Jian Chen is not simple. I have to discuss this with Ping Tian immediately, murmured the old man before suddenly vanishing. Of course, he did not truly vanish. Instead, he just flew too quickly, exceeding the speed that the naked eye could capture. This was why it seemed like he had suddenly vanished. In the blink of an eye, it had already been 3 days since Jian Chen's battle against Master Qianlong. Jian Chen had finally recovered the power of his soul after those 3 days. I've benefited from this battle. My way of the sword has increased some more. I can feel that I've reached the peak of minor achievement. I'm only a step away from partial achievement, Jian Chen murmured. He changed his appearance again after making a full recovery, entering the provincial city while keeping a low profile as Yang Yutian. Jian Chen became even more cautious after Master Qianlong ambushed him within the provincial city last time. The Divine King really is a bold man. He's actually ordering the arrest of Master Qianlong in the entire Divine Kingdom. Only a God King like the Divine King has the power to order the arrest of a late over God. Find Master Qianlong. There's no need to fight him at all. Just pass on the message as quickly as possible. I've heard that once Master Qianlong is found, the Grand Imperial Protector will personally come to kill him. Master Qianlong is powerful, but he won't be able to fight back at all before the Grand Imperial Protector. Master Qianlong is in trouble now. However, as long as he doesn't enter our Divine Kingdom again, he should be fine. An intense discussion drew Jian Chen over as soon as he approached the entrance of the city. He discovered that the Divine King of the kingdom had actually ordered the arrest of Master Qianlong personally. This order for arrest is more like a deterrence. It aims to deter foreign overgods from acting up. The appearance of God King Duanmu's dwelling has drawn over many overgods in the surrounding divine kingdoms. As there are simply too many of them, even the Divine King is unable to stop them all. He can only let the matter develop naturally. Now that the matter of the dwelling has come to an end, the Divine King has begun to show his true might. He's using Master Qianlong's matters to deter the other foreign overgods. They can come to our Divine Kingdom, but they're not allowed to make trouble, or the Grand Imperial Protector will kill them personally. Jian Shen understood the intentions of the Divine King very soon, and he smiled indifferently. What he feared the most right now was multiple overgods hunting him down, but now with the Divine King's interference, the foreign overgods would definitely be fearful. They would no longer be as bold. After all, the other overgods were not like Master Qianlong. Their hatred for Jian Shen was not as deep. Even if they really did want to move against Jian Shen, they had to properly consider if they could kill Jian Shen before the God King of the Divine Kingdom could arrive. That's good news for me, Jian Shen thought to himself with crossed arms before directly entering the city. He thought some more, it's time for me to settle down here. From now onwards, I am in charge of the Dong'an province. Chapter 1786. The Sun family. Jian Shen spent some divine crystals to rent an individual courtyard from a better inn, taking it as a temporary residence. Jian Shen sat in the sky above the individual courtyard. He was wearing his luxurious white robes. His long, black hair had not been tied up, draping down his back and reaching his waist. Before Jian Shen was all the elders of the Mo clan, the Ando clan, and their 2 ancestors. All of them sat like Jian Shen, except they did not sit in the air. Instead, they all sat on the ground. However, everyone's gazes towards Jian Shen were no longer as casual as before. Their gazes were all filled with reverence. Even though Jian Shen did not treat the people of the Mo clan any differently after revealing his strength at Overgod, the elders, the patriarch, and even the ancestor had grown distant from Jian Shen unknowingly. After all, in their opinion, Jian Shen was in a completely different realm from them. The huge disparity in strength had decided that their statuses would change silently, so the people of the Mo clan were unable to behave as casually when they faced Jian Shen. I'm out finally. Finally. It has been suffocating. Jian Shen, you shut me in for so long that I had even thought that you forgot about me, said Mo Yen. She studied the independent courtyard with much interest as joy filled her face. The only person who remained the same as before was Mo Yen, who still had not grown accustomed to the world where power was everything. She still treated Jian Shen the same as she did back when she saved him. Jian Shen, is this really the provincial city of the Dong'an province? This is the first time I've come here. I really do want to go out and see how it is. Mo Yen raised her head and stared at the sky. Her gaze was filled with eagerness. Jian Shen chuckled when he heard that. The provincial city will probably be rather chaotic right now. Miss Mo Yen will be able to go anywhere you wish in a few days' time. The way Jian Shen treated Mo Yen made the patriarch of the Mo clan feel proud. Although he could tell with a single glance that Jian Shen did not like her as a woman, he understood that Jian Shen had instead begun to treat his daughter as a younger sister, which left him overjoyed. As long as he possessed this relationship between Mo Yen and Jian Shen, the status of the Mo clan would definitely rise. Jian Shen looked at the people from the 2 clans and said after some thought, I've gathered you all here today because I have some matters that require your help. I want to create a clan in the provincial city, but the founding of a clan naturally requires quite a lot of land. As a result, I hope you can help me have a look if there's any good land to be bought. Although I have no reason to fear anyone with my current strength, I am unwilling to forcefully take the land of others unreasonably. After all, this is not the Dark Cloud Mountains. The mine there never belonged to the province in the first place. Although the territories of the Liu family, the Mo clan, and the Ando clan were open for occupation, Jian Shen did not want to choose such places because the resources there were just far too lacking compared to the provincial city. The eyes of the people from the 2 clans immediately lit up when they heard that Jian Shen wanted to found a clan in the provincial city. Mo Ling and Ando Fu both guaranteed that they would find a suitable piece of land in the shortest amount of time possible. Afterwards, everyone dispersed across the city, devoting themselves to Jian Shen's request. In just half a day, Ando Fu returned. He beamed and said, according to some reliable information I've found, there just happens to be a few powerful clans in the Dong'an province who have lost some gods in God King Duanmu's dwelling. With their remaining strength, they have no right to remain in the provincial city anymore, so many of them plan on moving out. If they really do move out of the provincial city, their current territory will be divided between the remaining clans. We can buy the land from them since they haven't moved out yet. With that, Ando Fu took out a map. He continued, I've already marked down the clans that are moving out. I've found quite a good place among them. Sir, please look. Ando Fu tried his best to show himself off to Jian Chen. He knew that once Jian Chen founded a clan, he would need a large number of people to make up for the majority of the clan's force. His Ando clan just happened to have many such people. Once the Ando clan assisted Jian Chen in founding his clan, the people from the Ando clan would become founding contributors. Their service would be so great that their status would naturally be extraordinary. Jian Chen stared at the map for a while before he firmly said, let's go to the Sun family. The Sun family? Ando Fu was slightly startled. The Sun family was a medium-sized clan in the provincial city, and they possessed an extremely large territory. However, they were a little too remote. Even though Ando Fu had no idea why Jian Chen planned on founding his clan in such a remote place, Ando Fu did not dare to say anything extra. He just followed behind Jian Chen. All the guards and servants in the large manor of the Sun family moved about constantly. All of them busied themselves with packing up everything as they prepared for the move. However, one of the grand halls in the Sun family was filled with people right now. The old man at the very front was a god, and below him sat over 10 deities and a few direct descendants of the clan who had not reached godhood but still possessed quite some status. It was just that all of them were dispirited and dejected now. The Sun family originally possessed 4 gods, making them a second-rate clan even among the powerful clans in the provincial city. However, with the appearance of God King Duanmu's dwelling, the Sun family had lost 3 gods in a single stroke, making their clan fall from grace. Everyone, where do you think our new territory should be once we leave the city? Said the god that sat at the very front. He was the only ancestor of the Sun family now. Everyone remained silent. The environment for cultivation outside was nowhere near as great as inside the city. They really did find it rather hard to adapt now that they had to leave the provincial city. I can give you a chance to remain within the Dong'an province. At this moment, an energetic voice rang out from outside. With a flash of red, a red figure appeared within the discussion hall. Chapter 1787, The Tian Yuan Clan, 1. The appearance of the red figure immediately attracted the attention of everyone in the hall. The last god of the Sun family, who sat at the very front, looked towards the red figure as well. He did not become excited. Instead, his face sank. He said coldly, Huoluji, I think I already know why you're here. Your Hua family wants our Sun family to pay the price of yielding to your Hua family to remain within the city. The ancestor of the Sun family's voice was filled with scorn for the Hua family. The Hua family was powerful, making them one of the 3 most powerful clans in the provincial city. They possessed a late god, so the Sun family was unable to match up to them at all. However, as a clan that also possessed a god, the Sun family naturally had their pride and dignity. They would never yield to the Hua family just to remain within the provincial city. The god from the Hua family, Huoluji, completely ignored the ancestor of the Sun family's cold attitude. He shook his head with a gentle smile and said, Senior Sun Jia, you're thinking too much. Your Sun family is one of the powerful clans of the provincial city after all, so how can our Hua family make you yield to us? Then tell me, what did you have in mind? Said the ancestor of the Sun family. He was still cold. Huoluji stood in the hall with his hands behind his back. He smiled faintly and said, It is very simple. Our Hua family hopes to form an alliance with the Sun family. An alliance, sneered Sun Jian. It's probably just an alliance on the surface and no different from yielding in reality. Huoluji, you should return. Even if our Sun family moves out of the provincial city, we'll never yield to your Hua family. A look of pity covered Huoluji's face. He said, Our Hua family has good intentions. We sincerely wish to assist your Sun family, but we never thought that Senior Sun Jian would take it like this. We are helpless about your current situation now as well if that's the case. After a moment of silence, Huoluji continued, Senior Sun Jian, your clan must be planning on moving out of the provincial city. When that happens, your territory in the city will belong to no one. In the end, it'll be split between the other clans. Your Sun family won't benefit at all. I do have a suggestion that will allow you to benefit, and that's to sell your land to our Hua family. What do you think, Senior Sun Jie? A gleam of light flashed through Sun Jie's eyes when he heard that. He said, I wonder what price your Hua family is willing to pay for the land? Sun Jie naturally understood what Huoluji was talking about. Once their clan left the city, the land would indeed end up in the hands of other clans. The Hua family wanted to buy up the land beforehand to avoid the pointless competition between the other clans. Although the Hua family was powerful within the Dong'an province, their power was nowhere near enough to reign supreme. 50,000 mid-grade divine crystals, said Huoluji. Sun Jie wavered slightly when he heard Huoluji's price. Although it was a rather low price for all the land, it was still extra income for the Sun family. If they sold the land, their clan would be able to receive 5 million low-grade divine crystals. If they did not sell the land, they would not be able to keep it anyway. I want this plot of land as well. I can pay 10,000 high-grade divine crystals. At this moment, another voice rang out from outside. A young man walked in steadily from outside. He was wearing luxurious, white robes. Behind the young man was a ruddy, sage-like old man who followed him silently. As expected, the young man was Jian Chen. Huoluji's face immediately became rather ugly when he heard Jian Chen's offer of 10,000 high-grade divine crystals for the land. As for Sun Jie, he beamed instead. 10,000 high-grade divine crystals were equivalent to 1,000,000 mid-grade divine crystals. If the Sun family could make 1,000,000 mid-grade divine crystals when they moved out, it would be a considerable sum. Huoluji turned around and stared at Jian Chen coldly. His face was very ugly, and he growled, I am Huoluji of the Hua family from the provincial city. May I ask which clan you come from? I've come to the provincial city to buy land exactly because I plan on founding a clan. I believe before long, you will learn what my clan is, Jian Chen said calmly. This piece of land has caught our Hua family's eyes. Do you plan on fighting over the land with our Hua family? Huoluji growled. Jian Chen smiled faintly, what a coincidence. This land has caught my eye as well. Since we are both become interested in this land, we'll have to fight it out. The land will belong to whoever who wins. I'm offering 10,000 high-grade divine crystals right now, so I was wondering if you were willing to offer up a higher price. Huoluji ignored Jian Chen. He looked at Sun Jie and took out the space ring he had already prepared. He said, Senior of the Sun family, there are 50,000 mid-grade divine crystals in here. If you have no problems, we can complete the deal. He has already offered 10,000 high-grade divine crystals. If your Hua family wants our land, you'll naturally have to offer a higher price. The ancestor of the Sun family smiled faintly. He did not fear the Hua family. Huoluji could also tell that he was unable to scare the ancestor of the Sun family with the strength of the Hua family. His face sank, and he stared coldly at Jian Chen. He sneered, I'll let you possess this land for a few days, but I must warn you out of good intentions that it won't be very peaceful in the city in the next period of time. I hope you can gain a stable footing in the city successfully. Throwing that out there, Huoluji left with a wave of his sleeve. Jian Chen completely ignored Huoluji's threat. He tossed a space ring to Sun Jie and said, There are 10,000 high-grade divine crystals in there, please have a look. If you have no objections, we can complete this transaction, and from now on, the land would belong to me. Sun Jie checked the space ring, and a smear of joy immediately appeared on his face before settling the agreement with Jian Chen. From that point onwards, the land formally belonged to Jian Chen. As Jian Chen bought the Sun family's land, the other powerful clans in the provincial city began to move as well. A few of the relatively more powerful clans sent their ancestors to visit the clans that were about to move away in an attempt to buy the land through divine crystals so that they could expand their own clans' businesses within the city. Basically, all the land in the city had been split up among the clans. Every single clan in the provincial city managed various shops, inns, and other businesses. With the superior cultivation environment and the flow of people, they could naturally attract many cultivators to stay. As long as people stayed in the provincial city, the clans would have a constant income. As a result, territory in the provincial city formed a direct connection with the wealth of the powerful clans, so they naturally placed much focus on the land of each clan that they could obtain. Chapter 1788, The Tian Yuan Clan, 2. After Jian Shen successfully purchased the land of the Sun clan, the other people of the Mo clan and the Ando clan all returned. At this moment, all of them had gathered within the discussion hall of the Sun family. However, there were no more people from the Sun family there anymore. All the people of the Sun family had moved out as quickly as possible. From today onwards, the Tian Yuan clan has been formally founded. Mo Ling, Ando Fu, I was wondering if you were willing to join my Tian Yuan clan? Jian Shen asked in a dignified manner as he sat at the very front. He really did possess the bearing of a patriarch right now. Mo Ling and Ando Fu had already made up their minds about joining Jian Shen's clan long ago. The two of them both announced that they would be joining the Tian Yuan clan without any hesitation. All the elders from their clans would join as well. It was also at that moment that Jian Shen formally founded the Tian Yuan clan. The first group of members was composed of the people from the Tian Yuan continent, the Mo clan, and the Ando clan. Patriarch, all clans that move into one of the 36 provincial cities in the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian require the permission of the Divine Kingdom's officials. The first condition to move into a provincial city is to possess 3 gods. We've already fulfilled that. We just need to seek the royal city's permission, said Mo Ling. He explained the various rules of the Divine Kingdom to Jian Shen in detail. Every century or millennia, you must pay 30% of your income to the royal city. However, all clans that have the right to move into the provincial city but do not have territory can receive a personal command from the royal city after gaining permission, so that the other clans in the provincial city must hand up territory that can be purchased. If a clan in the provincial city has less than 3 gods, they must move out. If they don't, the other clans must destroy them. The people responsible for this area in the royal city might even come personally. Jian Shen immediately frowned when he heard about all the rules the Divine King had set down. The Divine Kingdom really had many rules, making it very difficult for him to adapt. What if you've reached over God? Jian Shen asked. Overgods possess extremely great status within the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian. If you've reached over God, you only need to pay 10%, and the provincial city where the overgod resides can be directly handed over so that the overgod can rule over it. The royal city will not interfere. Even if there are new clans that want to move into the provincial city, they don't have to ask the royal city for permission anymore. They'll only have to ask the overgod, Ando Fu said fervently. Overgods basically ruled supreme in an entire province. They were insurmountable existences. Jian Shen gently knocked the arm of the chair he sat on with his knuckles. After some thought, he said, if that's the case, we don't have to ask for permission from the royal city. Mo Ling, Ando Fu, go summon your scattered clansmen. Now that our Tian Yuan clan has just been founded, we're in desperate need of people. Spend the next few days to properly decorate the clan. Once it's all completed, send invitations to all the powerful clans in the city. We're going to hold our founding ceremony formally. What? We don't have to ask for permission? Mo Ling and Ando Fu were stunned, but excitement soon filled their faces. On the next day, the plaque that represented the Tian Yuan clan was hung high up above the main entrance. However, the Tian Yuan clan had just been founded, so no one knew about them. There was barely anyone who knew about them at all in the entire city. A few of the clans in the city, along with the Hua family that Jian Shen had competed with for the territory, naturally learned about the founding of the Tian Yuan clan. However, now that quite a few clans were moving out of the provincial city, the territories were being divided up once again within the city, so the clans in the city all busied themselves with taking over the empty land. For this period of time, no one paid too much attention to the new Tian Yuan clan, including the Hua family. Jianshen founded the clan in the provincial city only to provide a quiet environment for everyone from the Tian Yuan continent to cultivate. He had no desire for any more territory, so he did not try to take over any more land after buying the Sun family's territory. Moreover, with his current strength, he basically reigned supreme in the provincial city. According to the rules of the Divine Kingdom, the city was already his territory. No matter how much land the other clans occupied, he could make them spit it all up with just a single word. This was because the royal city would not interfere if a clan with an overgod wanted to take the entire city as their territory. Mo Ling and Ando Fu used a special method to gather all their scattered clansmen. In just a few days, all the people from the two clans arrived in the city in small groups, gathering at the Tian Yuan clan. At the same time, the Tian Yuan clan sent out a notice in the city for the recruitment of guards. A clan could not be founded with just them. They needed a large number of guards and servants to deal with regular affairs. They needed to recruit these people from elsewhere. Of course, Jianshen let Mo Ling and Ando Fu handle these matters. Although he had founded the clan, he was unwilling to waste his time and energy on these miscellaneous matters. He became a completely irresponsible patriarch. As Mo Ling, Ando Fu, and so on poured their hearts out to decorate the Tian Yuan clan, Jianshen arrived in the back courtyards that had been labeled as forbidden grounds. He saw that Shangguan Mu'er, Xiao Jin, Xiao Ling, the White Tiger, Houston, Roy Jin, Hong Lian, Hei Yu, Nubis, the seven-colored heaven-devouring beast, and the few people from the world of Forsaken Saints had all appeared outside. Jianshen stood before them and smiled warmly. He took out a bottle from his space ring, and as he opened it, a dense fragrance immediately emerged. It smells so good. Big brother, what is it? Xiao Ling bounded before Jianshen. She stared at the bottle in Jianshen's hand with her large, bright eyes, and she could not help but gulp. She had begun to drool. The fist-sized seven-colored heaven-devouring beast fluttered over as well. It also stared at the jade bottle with its small eyes. It was filled with eagerness. Seeing how greedy Xiao Ling had become, Jianshen could not help but knock her head. His gaze was filled with uncontainable love as he said to everyone, "This is liquid lime. It's extremely valuable. Just a single drop of it is enough to modify the constitutions of those below godhood, allowing them to cultivate with ease. It can also temporarily raise your ability to comprehend, making comprehending the laws of the world even easier. While you still haven't reached godhood, the liquid lime will be the most effective, so ingest a drop quickly." Afterwards, Jianshen gave a droplet of liquid lime to everyone. Just like that, he lost most of it. In the end, only 5 drops of liquid lime remained in the bottle. Chapter 1789. Entering seclusion. Collectively everyone marveled at the droplet of liquid lime floating before them. Although this was the first time they had seen liquid lime, they all understood the value of it extremely well. It had probably far exceeded Jianshen's description. However, just how long had it been since Jianshen came to the Saints' world? Not only had he founded a clan in the provincial city of the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian during this time, but he had even obtained such precious liquid lime. As a result, everyone felt admiration from the bottom of their hearts for Jianshen. The Origin Realm cultivators from the world of Forsaken Saints experienced the most mixed emotions among all of them. They had even been Jianshen's enemies in the lower world. Xiongzhong, in particular, had even engaged in a battle of life or death with Jianshen. Yet now, they had come to the Saints' world with the Spirit King and Jianshen. During the time they spent in the Bright Moon Divine Hall, Jianshen had treated them as equals with the people from the Tian Yuan continent. Every time he came to deliver divine crystals, he would give the people from the world of Forsaken Saints a portion. Right now, Jianshen had actually gifted them a drop of such valuable liquid lime as well so that they could reach godhood easily. The Origin Realm cultivators from the foreign world were all filled with gratitude. Everyone ingested their drop of liquid lime with excited and mixed emotions before immediately entering seclusion. Jianchen did not leave the region that he had labeled as forbidden grounds. He sat down where he was when everyone entered seclusion to watch over them. He also understood that as the territory of the provincial city was being divided up again, there would definitely be a few clans with a certain amount of power who would go all out for some empty plots of land. He could even sense the shockwaves from battles between gods from time to time. As everyone broke through to godhood, they could not be disturbed at all, so Jianchen personally remained here to watch over them and prevent any accidents. After all, among the people who broke through, there were many people that Jianchen regarded highly. There were even some that he regarded to be more important than his own life, so he could not allow any accidents to happen to them at all. Boom! A deafening boom rang out in the distance, and it basically shook up a portion of the city. Gods had begun fighting in the provincial city again. Layers of defensive formations appeared faintly in the air, nullifying as much as 90% of the shockwaves. However, the remaining energy still wreaked havoc in the surroundings as a great gale of wind. This was not the only disturbance. There were disruptions from fighting in other parts of the city as well. The flames of battle seemed to have contaminated the current city, making it very unpeaceful. Many powerful clans took part, and even the clans that were ranked towards the bottom worked together, and they also took part in the fight for territory. Only the Weiner clan and the newly founded Tian Yuan clan that many people did not know about stayed out of the fight. The Weiner clan had completely lost the right to fight for territory. They had lost 2 mid-gods, so the clan only had 2 early gods present. If it were not for the other god who had been out traveling, they would have probably lost the right to remain in the city long ago. It was busy in the Tian Yuan clan. Everyone busied themselves with arranging the decor, fixing buildings, planning structures, casting down protective formations, and so on. These tasks could not be completed in a short amount of time. The disruptions in the city lasted for 3 days before finally settling down. The empty land had been divided, and it was also at this time that the clans in the city finally looked towards the Tian Yuan clan. At the same time, they sent a large number of scouts to check on the reality of the matter. They even infiltrated the clan through the public recruitment the clan was holding. Ancestor, I've already investigated the current situation. The Tian Yuan clan is formed from the Mo clan and the Ando clan, but they don't seem to be the actual people in charge. A middle-aged man stood in a discussion hall within the Hua family as he reported all the information he had obtained. Up ahead sat a god of the Hua family, while all the deity elders stood to the 2 sides below. Have you found out the origins of the founder of the Tian Yuan clan? The ancestor asked. Ancestor, the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is extremely mysterious. I haven't obtained any information on him, and I haven't even seen him before. However, there's a forbidden zone in the Tian Yuan clan. Their elders are personally stationed there, and we can't enter that place. The ancestor of the Hua family pondered and said, looks like the mysterious patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is in the forbidden grounds. It doesn't matter where he is. Are we, the great Hua family, supposed to be afraid of a clan that has only just been founded? And the territory of the Sun family should have belonged to us already, but we never expected the Tian Yuan clan to take it instead. We have to redeem our dignity. At this moment, Hua Luji walked in from outside with a sunken face. Luji, what do you plan on doing? The seated ancestor said. Hua Luji was also an ancestor of the Hua family, so they possessed relatively similar statuses. If I've guessed correctly, the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan must be that kid. I'd like to see just how long his Tian Yuan clan can last in the provincial city after acting so arrogantly before me. Hua Gu, don't interfere with this matter. Leave it to me, Hua Luji said to the seated old man. Although all the powerful clans had learned of Jian Chen's identity when he took over the divine crystal mine, not all the gods had gathered there. Basically, only the strongest gods of each family had gathered in the discussion hall back then. As a result, although Hua Luji had heard that an over-god had taken over the divine crystal mine, He had no idea who this over-god was, nor had he seen an image of him. Luji, since the Tian Yuan clan is bold enough to fight against us for territory, they must have some confidence. You must not act recklessly. Let's look into the matter some more, Hugo said. Inside the Tian Yuan clan, Mo Ling and Ando Fu were currently engaged in an intense conversation over how the formations in the clan were supposed to be arranged. Mo Ling, that doesn't seem to be a great idea. The provincial city itself already possesses a large-scale energy-gathering formation. As a result, the origin energy in the city is several times denser than outside. If we also cast down an energy-gathering formation near our Tian Yuan clan, wouldn't we be stealing quite a large portion of the origin energy in the city? Ando Fu frowned. He felt that it was not a good idea. Chapter 1790. Disturbances in the provincial city. Mo Ling chuckled aloud and rubbed his bald head. The entire provincial city basically belongs to the patriarch now. How would there be any problems if the patriarch created an energy-gathering formation within his own territory? Moreover, with the support of the patriarch, our Tian Yuan clan is a clan with an over-god at the very least. If we act the same as the other clans, how will we be able to show them our status? Fair enough. Let's do that then. Since the patriarch has already delegated the general affairs to the two of us, we should do our best and complete it to the best of our ability and not disappoint the patriarch, said Ando Fu. Afterwards, he and Mo Ling immediately went off to arrange the matter. At the same time, the Hua family began to move. Several of their deities left the clan with groups of guards, scattering into several dozen groups across the city. They all surrounded a few inns and shops before smashing the plaques and signs forcefully, turning them to dust. Afterwards, they replaced them with plaques and signs they had prepared beforehand. The new signs all possessed the symbol of the Hua family. All the shops and inns that possessed this sign belonged to the Hua family. The guards and elders from the Hua family only touched the signs that possessed the unique symbol of the Tian Yuan clan. These businesses originally belonged to the Sun family, but ever since the Sun family sold their land to the Tian Yuan clan, the businesses naturally ended up with the Tian Yuan clan. All these people belong to the Hua family, and all the signs they're destroying seem to belong to the newly founded Tian Yuan clan. The Hua family clearly wants to take over the businesses of the Tian Yuan clan forcefully. What a pitiful clan. They've only just been founded, and before they can run their businesses, the Hua family has forcefully taken over them, the strong prey on the weak. Who can you blame for the Tian Yuan clan for being so weak? What can the Tian Yuan clan do even if the Hua family wants to abuse them? The Tian Yuan clan offended one of the three most powerful clans as soon as they moved into the provincial city. It'll be a gloomy future for them in the provincial city. I had even planned to become a guard for the Tian Yuan clan. Looks like it's better to remain distant from that clan now. The matter of the Hua family taking over the Tian Yuan clan's businesses spread through the city very quickly. In just a short time, everyone learnt about it, and it became the topic of conversation. However, the Hua family was not the only clan that forcefully took over the Tian Yuan clan's businesses. As one of the three most powerful clans as well, the Dong family began to move, taking over the remaining businesses of the Tian Yuan clan. Working together, the Hua family and the Dong family took over all the businesses of the Tian Yuan clan. Soon, the Tian Yuan clan was only left with their manor. The movements of the Hua family and the Dong family against the Tian Yuan clan had raised quite a large discussion in the provincial city. However, without any doubt, everyone took pity in the Tian Yuan clan for what they had gone through. The Tian Yuan clan's response was as expected. They did nothing as if they had no idea that others had completely taken over all their businesses. There was an extremely large courtyard within the provincial city, and a stone tower that was several hundred meters tall stood in its depths. At this moment, two old men sat on the top floor. From the presences they gave off, they were both gods. The two of them were the ancestors of the Nanyan clan, Nanyan Tong and Nanyan Haobai. Uncle Tong, why do I feel like you've become more and more cowardly lately? You're even so cautious about a small clan that has only been founded recently. Look at the Hua family and the Dong family. After taking over all the businesses of the Tian Yuan clan, the Tian Yuan clan hasn't given a rat's ass about it at all. They dare not to. If you had listened to me, our Nanyan clan would have been able to claim at least 20% of the Tian Yuan clan's land. It'll provide our clan with quite a large income. Even if the royal city orders us to hand the land over in the future, the Tian Yuan clan will still have to pay a huge sum to buy it back. Nanyan Haobai was perplexed. Nanyan Tong shook his head gently. He stared in the direction of the Tian Yuan clan and said gently, Haobai, the Tian Yuan clan is not as simple as they seem on the surface. If you pay close attention, it'll be pretty obvious that although the people below godhood are unsettled and are panicking after the two clans have taken over all their businesses, all their deity elders and their two early gods remain extremely composed. Perhaps they were already expecting this, said Nanyan Haobai. Nanyan Tong shook his head again. His eyes deepened, and he said, if I've guessed correctly, the provincial city is about to change. It's going to change? Nanyan Tong was confused. Hua Luji hovered high in the air above the Hua family as he gazed coldly in the direction of the Tian Yuan clan. He sneered, Tian Yuan clan, this is what happens when you offend our Hua family. I'd like to see how you gain a stable footing in the provincial city from today onwards. Hua Luji's voice was scornful towards the Tian Yuan clan. At this moment, a huge formation suddenly appeared in the direction of the Tian Yuan clan. With the appearance of the formation, all the origin energy in the provincial city immediately became chaotic. Soon afterwards, the origin energy gathered towards the Tian Yuan clan rapidly. The sudden occurrence immediately attracted everyone's attention. As they looked towards where the origin energy gathered, they all became stunned as disbelief flooded their faces. Hua Luji's disdainful expression froze at that moment. He became slightly stunned as well as he gazed in the direction of the Tian Yuan clan dazedly. Gradually, disbelief filled his face as well. The Tian Yuan clan has actually set up a large-scale energy-gathering formation, drawing over around 40% of the origin energy in the city. What is the Tian Yuan clan doing? How can they be so reckless? Hua Luji murmured. The Tian Yuan clan's actions had stunned him. Such a large energy-gathering formation had basically taken away 40% of the city's origin energy. Even the three most powerful clans in the city would not dare to do something like that, as it would directly get in the interests of the other clans in the city. The final outcome would be that they would become enemies of the entire city. All the powerful clans and experts who had settled down in the city would gang up against them. At the same time, a huge uproar rose in the streets of the city. Is the Tian Yuan clan stupid? How can they do such a dumb thing? How will all the powerful clans in the city just stand by when they want to take so much origin energy for themselves? The Tian Yuan clan could not even resist the abuse from the Hua family and the Dong family. Now they've done it. They've offended all the clans in the city in a single stroke. As everyone discussed in the streets, powerful presences immediately appeared in various places across the city. Many gods from the clans of the city flew towards the Tian Yuan clan with hostility. Chapter 1791. A single strand of sword qi in the Hua family. Hua Luji hovered in the air dazedly for a while before gradually sneering. He immediately flew towards the Tian Yuan clan along with another ancestor of the Hua family. The Nanyan clan and the Dong family also had gods that hurried towards the Tian Yuan clan aggressively. People from the three strongest clans of the provincial city had begun to move. The Tian Yuan clan was just a tiny, newly founded clan, yet they dared to set up a large-scale energy-gathering formation in such a public manner, robbing the entire city of 40% of its origin energy. Their action had already gotten in the interests of the other powerful clans in the city severely. None of them would allow something like that to happen. Shao Gang, do not interfere with what's happening with the Tian Yuan clan. Come back. However, just when the god from the Nanyan clan had flown out, an ancient voice rang out from the great stone tower. Nanyan Gang was startled, and he became slightly perplexed. He glanced in the direction of the Tian Yuan clan before following the instructions of the voice, flying back to the stone tower. This was because the voice came from one of the 3 greatest experts in the provincial city. He was also the strongest in the Nanyan clan, Nanyan Tong. Xiao Gang, you don't have to ask too much about this. All you need to do is pay attention, and you will understand very soon. Before Nanyan Gang could say anything after he returned to the stone tower, Nanyan Tong had already spoken out. His gaze remained fixed in the direction of the Tian Yuan clan during the whole time. Over a dozen gods had already surrounded the Tian Yuan clan now. They were the ancestors of various clans, and they all hovered high in the air, looking down on the Tian Yuan clan. However, all the elders and even Mo Ling and Ando Fu remained their usual selves when they faced the encirclement of so many gods. They remained composed. The other members of the clan, as well as the recruited servants and guards, became extremely pale on the other hand, as if it was the end of the world for them. We're done for. We're done for. How can the ancestors of the Tian Yuan clan be so dumb? This is the provincial city, not some rural wilderness. Why did they cast down such a large energy-gathering formation? Now they've done it. They've offended all the powerful clans in the entire provincial city in a single stroke. Sigh. I've only just joined the Tian Yuan clan as a guard. I had thought that I would be able to get a good cultivation environment so that I could further develop my strength, but I never thought that the ancestor of the Tian Yuan clan would have no understanding of the rules of the city as well. That's it. The Tian Yuan clan has become the public enemy of the entire city. It'll probably be impossible for them to remain in the city in the future. I better leave the Tian Yuan clan quick before they start fighting. Many guards and servants chose to leave the Tian Yuan clan without any hesitation. First, the Hua family and the Dong family had taken over all of the clan's businesses and territory, making it very difficult for them to develop in the future. Yet now, they had even offended all the clans in the city. They could all see the end of the Tian Yuan clan. Immediately, quite a few people fled through the main entrance of the clan as quickly as they could. Less than a third of them remained. Of course, these people had all been recruited from the city lately. None of the clansmen from the Mo clan and the Ando clan had left. The people of the 2 clans did not stop these people from leaving because the people that they had recruited basically belonged to an agreement where they would only work when they were willing. They would serve the clan, and the clan would provide them with an environment for cultivation methods, divine crystals, and so on as remuneration. Mo Ling and Ando Fu hovered high in the sky as well. They faced the gods, and they remained calm. They clasped their hands towards the people calmly, and Mo Ling said, although our Tian Yuan clan has already been founded for several days, the internal arrangements have not been settled yet, so it's still overly early for everyone to come and congratulate the founding of our clan. Once we complete all our arrangements, the patriarch will personally send invitations to everyone and formally announce the founding of the clan. The faces of all the gods gathered here darkened slightly. The Tian Yuan clan had basically stolen 40% of the origin energy in the city. They had come to settle that problem, not to congratulate the clan for anything. Mo Ling, take apart your energy-gathering formation immediately and compensate us with 1 million mid-grade divine crystals, or your clan won't be able to remain in the city for 3 days, said a god from the Dong family. His face was sunken. 3 days? Isn't that a little too much time? The Tian Yuan clan has taken away so much origin energy, which will affect everyone in our Hua family. If you don't compensate our Hua family with 10,000 high-grade divine crystals, your clan won't be able to remain within the city for 2 days. Our Hua family will not allow your existence, sneered Hua Luji. 10,000 high-grade divine crystals. The Hua family sure has a large appetite. The 1 million mid-grade divine crystals that the Dong family asked for was compensation for the entire city. The divine crystals will go to all the clans, yet the Hua family wants 10,000 high-grade divine crystals just for themselves, a few gods from other clans thought to themselves. They could all tell that Hua Luji truly wanted to drive the Tian Yuan clan out of the city. Again, Mo Ling and Ando Fu remained at ease when they were faced with the unreasonable requests of the two clans. Ando Fu stroked his long beard and said, "We're not the patriarch, so we can't make any decision about taking apart the energy-gathering formation or paying compensation." The face of the god from the Dong family turned cold. He said frigidly, "Since you can't make the decision, I'll make it for you." As he said that, the god had already raised his hand. He directly pressed down on the buildings in the clan up ahead. As his hand fell, the origin energy in the surroundings surged violently, instantly condensing into a huge hand that was several hundred meters across. It slammed down towards the ground with shocking might. The ancestor of the Dong family had already reached mid-god, so he did not fear Mo Ling and Ando Fu at all. He directly tried to destroy the Tian Yuan clan before them. The faces of Mo Ling and Ando Fu changed slightly. They immediately tried to stop the Dong family ancestors' actions, but at this moment, a streak of light shot out from the forbidden grounds enveloped by formations in the Tian Yuan clan with lightning speed. It directly collided with the palm of energy from the ancestor of the Dong family. The attack was nullified easily, while the strand of sword chi continued towards the god of the Dong family in the air. Before he could even react, the sword chi had punched through his chest. The expression of god of the Dong family changed. Blood spurted from his mouth, and shock covered his face. He stared at the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan. The expressions of the other gods gathered there changed at that moment as well. They also gazed towards the origins of the sword chi in shock. Chapter 1792, Ancestor Yen, Who? Who is it? Who's so that powerful that they can easily wound a mid-god? Is the person the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan? The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is actually so powerful. Surely the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan isn't an overgod. The gods from the various clans of the city all became very perturbed as their hearts churned. Everyone disperse. Do not disturb the breakthroughs of my friends. If there is a second time, I will not show any mercy at all. At the same time, an indifferent and emotionless voice boomed out from the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan. None of the gods could send the senses of their soul into the forbidden grounds because formations protected it, so they had no idea what was going on inside. It's his voice. Huoluji's face became extremely ugly when he heard the somewhat familiar voice. He immediately thought of the young man who had stolen the land of the Sun family from him several days ago. That young man is actually so powerful. It is to the point where he can injure a mid-god with just a single strike. Such strength has even surpassed late god. Is he an overgod? Huoluji immediately paled. No, that's impossible. It's impossible for him to be an overgod. There are only so many of them in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, and all of them are supreme existences. How can they be so bored that they've come to the Dong'an province to buy land? That's just completely unnecessary. Huoluji denied his guesses firmly. According to the rules of the divine kingdom, any overgod possessed the right to take over an entire province and make the province their territory. The entire provincial city would also be his property, so there would be no need for them to buy land like what Jianshen had done. Moreover, Jianshen had even bought land in a relatively remote region. That was not something that an overgod would do. At this moment, two other figures shot over from the distance with lightning speed, arriving above the Tian Yuan clan in a short moment. It was a middle-aged, scholarly man in red robes and an extremely handsome young man who only seemed to be in his 20s. Their appearances immediately caused the other gods in the surroundings to gently clasp their hands in greeting. There were even quite a few people who revealed fear in their eyes. This was because the two of them were part of the three great experts of the provincial city who stood beside Nanyun Tong. They were both late gods. I am Dong Yunjian, and I have come to visit the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. I am Huajun, and I have come to visit the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. Dong Yunjian and Huajin both stared at the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan sternly as they spoke with clasped fists. The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan had managed to heavily injure a mid-god, and he had even done it in a fashion where the mid-god could not fight back at all. Both of them believed that they could not accomplish this, and only over-gods could reproduce such results. All the gods present looked away from Huajun and Dong Yunjian at that moment. They all stared at the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan that was encased by formations. At the same time, the figures in the surroundings flickered. Gods from all over the city gathered over one by one. Not only had all the gods from the more powerful clans moved out, but even the gods who did not belong to the provincial city had come as well, causing the number of gods gathered here to reach into the 50s. In just a short moment, all the gods within the entire provincial city had gathered above the Tian Yuan clan. Although the large energy gathering formation in the Tian Yuan clan had attracted everyone's attention earlier, they did not take the matter to heart, as this was a problem for the clans that belonged to the city. However, it was very likely that an overgod had appeared in the Tian Yuan clan now. This matter was extremely important, so it raised the attention of everyone. Even in the divine kingdoms around the divine kingdom of Pingtian, overgods possessed extremely great statuses, let alone the divine kingdom of Pingtian itself. They were known to be the peak force of a divine kingdom. This was because regardless of the divine kingdom of Pingtian or the neighboring divine kingdoms, they only possessed around a dozen overgods across the entire nation. If the overgods who had died in God King Duanmu's dwelling were taken into consideration, some of the divine kingdoms possessed less than 10 overgods now. This was more than enough to demonstrate the rarity of overgods. The patriarch has already said to not disturb the breakthroughs of his friends. Once you cause them to fail due for some reason, you should be able to imagine the consequences. Mo Ling held his chest up high as he hovered in the air, speaking to everyone in high spirits. Everyone, please return. In a few days, our Tian Yuan clan will hold a founding ceremony. At that time, you will naturally be able to see the patriarch himself, Ando Fu added in amazement. Several years ago, he had to act submissively before these gods simply because he was afraid of offending them. However, he could now directly act as he wished before these gods. Even the three great experts of the provincial city could do nothing to him, and they were unwilling to offend him. The gods of the provincial city naturally had nothing more to say in response to Mo Ling and Ando Fu's words. They all continued with a few words of courtesy before leaving. The ancestors of the clans in the provincial city treated the Tian Yuan clan completely differently now. They had come all sunken-faced, but they had left enthusiastically, and some even acted politely. They did not dare to speak about the energy-gathering formation in the Tian Yuan clan anymore. Wait. Hua Luji of the Hua family and Dong Xingri of the Dong family have been impolite towards our patriarch, so please stay behind for the judgment of the patriarch. Just when the people of the Hua family and the Dong family were about to leave, Ando Fu suddenly spoke out. The expressions of the two late gods from the Hua family and the Dong family changed when they heard that. The faces of Hua Luji and the mid-god from the Dong family who Jian Chen had wounded sank, becoming extremely ugly. Luji, you should stay in the Tian Yuan clan for the time being. Be sure to properly make it up to the patriarch, Hua Jun said indifferently. Xingri, you should stay behind for now as well, Dong Yunjian said to the mid-god of his family as well. He was filled with helplessness. In the end, Hua Luji and Dong Xingri both stayed behind. They had basically become prisoners. Even though the person who wanted Hua Luji and Dong Xingri to stay behind was Ando Fu, the strongest experts of the Hua family and the Dong family did not dare to object. This was because the Tian Yuan clan possessed an overgod. Before an overgod, the three great experts of the provincial city were a joke. In the blink of an eye, all the gods gathered at the Tian Yuan clan dispersed, while the disturbance the energy-gathering formation caused calmed down just like this. The gods of the Hua family and the Dong family passed on orders as quickly as they could, returning all the territory they had taken from the Tian Yuan clan. They had even replaced the destroyed signs with replicas that were exactly the same. The other gods did not sit around idly when they returned to their clans either. They gathered all their elders to hold an emergency meeting as they discussed the Tian Yuan clan sternly. The Tian Yuan clan had an overgod, so this would affect the provincial city extremely greatly. The addition of an overgod to any provincial city would directly alter the city's fate. The two early gods who had fought against Jian Chen from the Weiner clan gathered together as well. Their faces were extremely ugly. The overgod from the Tian Yuan clan must be Jian Chen. I never thought he would found a clan in the provincial city. This is an utter disaster for our Weiner clan. Sigh. Right now, Jian Chen has just founded the clan, so he has been held down by various matters, which is why he still hasn't bothered with us. Once he has gotten the entire provincial city under him in the future, he'll probably start moving against our Weiner clan. After all, we fell out with him outside God King Duanmu's dwelling in the past. The two gods from the Weiner clan discussed with much worry. Anxiety and bitterness filled their faces. Great-grandfathers, why have you become so worried? At this moment, a young man in embroidered robes walked in from outside. He smiled faintly, possessing the joy and excitement of coming home from a long journey. When the two early gods saw the young man, they were stunned, but it was soon replaced by joy. They both cried out, "Xiao Yan." The young man was the ancestor who had left the Weiner clan for almost 10,000 years, Ancestor Yan. Chapter 1793, Breakthroughs to Godhood. Ancestor Yan's full name was Weiner Yan. His talent was extraordinary, and he was the most outstanding clansman ever since the Weiner clan was founded. In just 30,000 years, he had reached early god, becoming the fifth ancestor of the Weiner clan at such a young age. Afterwards, he spent 5,000 more years to go from early god to mid-god. Even with the entire divine kingdom of Pingtian in perspective, there was barely anyone who could match up to his talent and cultivation speed. The Weiner clan, on the other hand, held very high hopes for Weiner Yan. After breaking through to mid-god, Weiner Yan went traveling all by himself and had just returned today. Great-grandfather Tsong, great-grandfather Xuanguang, how come I don't see great-grandfather Sen and great-grandfather Ti? Weiner Yan smiled with a sense of closeness. The great-grandfather Sen and great-grandfather Ti he was referring to were naturally the two mid-gods of the Weiner clan, Weiner Sen and Weiner Ti. Weiner Yan was also an ancestor of the Weiner clan now, making his status equal to the other gods. However, due to his age, he always referred to the other ancestors of the Weiner clan as great-grandfathers. Weiner Tsong and Weiner Xuanguan became gloomy when they heard the question. They said, "Xiao Yan, just too many things have happened in the Dong'an province recently. Your great-grandfathers Sen and Ti have already fallen." What? Great-grandfather Sen and great-grandfather Ti are already dead. Weiner Yan's face changed suddenly, and his smile disappeared. It was converted into grief. Afterwards, Weiner Tsong and Weiner Xuanguang explained everything that had happened in the recent years to him, including the opening of God King Duanmu's dwelling and the battle with Jian Chen outside. They hid nothing. "Xiao Yan. Both your grandfather Sen and grandfather Ti died in God King Duanmu's dwelling. They lost their lives to the killing formations cast down by God King Duanmu. However, we find it very fortunate now. Fortunately, you weren't in the Dong'an province when the dwelling had opened. Otherwise, you would have probably been doomed as well. Just too many gods died in God King Duanmu's dwelling. Let alone gods, even quite a few overgods died. There were even late overgods among them." Sigh, Weiner Tsong and Weiner Xuanguan said slowly. When they mentioned the dwelling of God King Duanmu now, they were no longer enthusiastic. There was only indifference and melancholy. "Great-grandfather Sen, great-grandfather Ti, how did you just go like that? You didn't even see me unite the entire Dong'an province beneath me. You didn't even see the day when our Weiner clan would become the greatest clan in the Dong'an province," Weiner Yan murmured to himself. He was extremely grief-stricken. The eyes of Weiner Tsong and Weiner Xuanguang immediately narrowed when they heard Weiner Yan's words. They looked at Weiner Yan with brimming interest as disbelief flooded their faces. At the same time, there was eagerness and excitement. Even the Hua family, the Dong family, or the Nanyan clan did not dare to say the bold and lofty words of uniting the entire province and becoming the greatest clan in the province because late gods were not enough to rule over an entire provincial city. Although late gods were peak experts in the Dong'an province, there were many other gods in other clans as well. Early and mid gods were not the opponents of late gods in single combat, but they could deal with late gods if they worked together. A late god would be unable to reign supreme within a provincial city. If a late god tried to do that, the other clans would definitely band together to suppress the late god. Even late gods would die when they became completely outnumbered by experts of a similar level. As a result, for a clan to dominate an entire provincial city in the divine kingdom of Pingtian and many of the other divine kingdoms in the surroundings, they would need an overgod. Only overgods could reign supreme in a provincial city. Xiao Yan, what's your current cultivation? Wainer Tsong asked. His voice trembled slightly. Suddenly, Wainer Yan emitted a tremendous presence. The presence was so powerful that it had completely exceeded late god, reaching a whole new level. Wainer Tsong and Wainer Shuangguan were greatly shocked and they sensed the chillingly powerful presence. Surprise flooded their faces, along with uncontainable excitement. Overgod. Xiao Yan, you've actually become an overgod. Jian Chen currently sat a meter above the ground in the forbidden grounds of the Tian Yuan clan as he guarded over the people who were breaking through. The moment Wainer Yan gave off his overgod presence, Jian Chen slowly opened his eyes and gazed in the direction of the Wainer clan. Wainer Yan's presence had only filled the hall of the Wainer clan and had not extended beyond that. As such, even many of the elders in the Wainer clan had failed to sense it. However, it was not enough to hide from Jian Chen's senses. An overgod has actually appeared in the provincial city, Jian Chen murmured softly, and a light flickered through his eyes. However, at this moment, the presence of a breakthrough suddenly appeared in the forbidden grounds. The people from the Tian Yuan continent had finally stepped into godhood. It's Mu'er. Mu'er has actually broken through before the white tiger. Jian Chen stood on the ground now. He looked towards where Shangguan Mu'er cultivated as he smiled faintly. 2 hours into Shangguan Mu'er's breakthrough, another presence appeared. Vaguely, it was filled with a presence of slaughter, making the surrounding temperature drop slightly. The white tiger has broken through as well. Jian Chen smiled even wider. To him, being able to personally witness them reach godhood was an extremely happy matter. Soon after Shangguan Mu'er and the white tiger began their breakthrough, the others broke through as well, successfully reaching godhood. However, the third one to break through was the seven-colored heaven-devouring beast, which had remained the size of a fist the whole time, never taking a human form. Houston was the fourth person to break through among everyone. Afterwards, Xiao Jin, Xiao Ling, Rui Jin, Hong Lian, He Yu, Nubis, as well as Xiong Zhong, Qing Jingyun, and so on from the world of Forsaken Saints followed. Originally, it was impossible for a few of them to reach godhood so quickly, but due to the droplet of liquid lime from Jian Chen that was enough for even overgods to lay their lives down for, they had all comprehended the laws of the world much earlier and formally reached godhood. The simultaneous breakthrough of over a dozen people naturally caused quite the disturbance. However, since formations protected the forbidden grounds, no outsider learnt about their breakthroughs. Chapter 1794, Founding Ceremony, 1. After breaking through, no one emerged from seclusion immediately. They only came out after 3 days of consolidation. Ha ha ha, I never thought that there would be a day where I, Hey You, would become a god. In the past, Origin Realm experts were insurmountable existences to me, but now, I can crush some of the weaker Origin Realm sovereigns with just a finger. Hey You laughed aloud. In the past, Rui Jin, Hong Lian, and he were trapped within the artifact space like prisoners. They did not even know what the outside world looked like. Yet now, in less than 100 years, he had gone from being a prisoner to a deity. It had only been less than a century, but both his status and strength had undergone a tremendous change. Hey You felt like it was all a dream. I never thought that I, the great Nubis, would become a deity one day. I do wish that I could return to the ancient times of the Tian Yuan continent. With my strength as a deity, the 4 supreme experts who surpassed Saint Emperor are nothing. They'll all be standing beneath me. Nubis also chuckled aloud. He was in extremely high spirits. Although the other people who had become deities did not say anything noble, their faces were also plastered with excitement and joy. Jian Shen could not help but smile from the bottom of his heart when he saw how overjoyed everyone was. At that moment, he felt extremely at ease as well. This was the first time Jian Shen had experienced this feeling, this mood, after coming to the saints' world. As he saw everyone's joy from becoming deities, he also thought about his firm standing in the provincial city. Jian Shen felt like all the hardships, fighting, and killing in the past few years had been worth it. This was because all the fighting and killing he had gone through was just to create a safe land for his friends and family that had come up to the higher world with him. Jian Shen, it really has been tough for you in these past few years. Shangguan Mu'er arrived before Jian Shen in her purple dress. She stared at Jian Shen affectionately with her enchanting eyes. Jian Shen smiled as he looked at Shangguan Mu'er's heavenly beauty. He gently raised his hand and rubbed her cheek. His eyes were also filled with affection as he said gently, "As long as you all can live a peaceful life, everything I do is worth it." Shangguan Mu'er did not say anything. She wrapped her slender arm around Jian Shen and pressed her head against his chest gently. She understood that Jian Shen had done everything in the recent years for them. It must have been very tough for him to be outside all alone. Although they had no idea what kind of dangers Jian Shen had encountered, they could tell their severity when they saw an unconscious Shen Jian delivered into the divine hall before. Jian Shen also wrapped his hand around Shangguan Mu'er gently. He became extremely calm. At this moment, he experienced a certain type of warmth that he had not felt in a very long time. The two of them did not speak much and spent their time together silently. To them, silence was better right now. From afar, the people who had just broken through silently dismissed themselves. They did not make any sounds as they departed, leaving time and space to Jian Shen and Shangguan Mu'er. The next morning, the deity elders all left the Tian Yuan clan simultaneously to deliver invitations. They flew towards various locations of the provincial city as they sent the invitations to the powerful clans one by one. The elders were not people from the Tian Yuan clan, and they were all originally from the Mo clan and the Ando clan. However, there was no longer a Mo clan or an Ando clan in the Dong'an province anymore. There was only a Tian Yuan clan. All the clansmen of the two clans had become part of the Tian Yuan clan. The Tian Yuan clan wants to hold a founding ceremony. It's extremely likely for the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan to be an overgod. We must go to their founding ceremony. Has the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan finally begun to move? Looks like the Tian Yuan clan will dominate the provincial city from today onwards. Immediately prepare rich gifts. In 3 days, all the gods in the clan shall come with me to congratulate the Tian Yuan clan. The invitations from the Tian Yuan clan raised the attention of all the people in the various clans. Their ancestors all held the invitations as they sternly ordered others to prepare gifts. Ever since the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan revealed his strength, the status of the Tian Yuan clan in the provincial city had been rising silently, becoming an existence that no one dared to provoke anymore. All the powerful clans had to accept the invitation from the Tian Yuan clan and did not dare to decline it. In 3 days, you three come with me to visit the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, in the huge stone tower within the Nanyan clan. One of the 3 great experts of the provincial city, Nanyan Tong, said sternly to the 3 other gods of his clan. The Weiner clan had also received an invitation from a deity of the Tian Yuan clan. After losing 2 mid-gods, the Weiner clan had descended to a point where they were one of the weaker clans in the city. If it were not for one of their gods who had gone out journeying, the Weiner clan would have lost the right to remain within the provincial city. At this moment, Weiner Tsong, Weiner Xuanguan, and Weiner Yen sat in the air within a room. The invitation from the Tian Yuan clan was held in Weiner Yan's hand. He pinched it between 2 of his fingers casually as his young and handsome face revealed that he was in deep thought. Xiao Yan, what do you think of this? Wainer Tsong looked at Wainer Yan and asked him. Let's let Xiao Yan make all the decisions regarding this. From today onwards, Xiao Yan's words will be absolute in the Wainer clan. We two senile old men will both listen to Xiao Yan, said Wainer Xuanguang. Now that Wainer Yan was an over-god, his status naturally differed from the past. Even though Wainer Tsong and Wainer Xuanguang were Wainer Yan's seniors, they would behave politely before Wainer Yan from time to time. They did not even dare to speak too boldly. Wainer Yan said while in thought, I never thought that a second over-god would appear in the Dong'an province. This is rather unexpected. Although the origins of the over-god in the Tian Yuan clan are rather mysterious, he's still an expert at the same level as me. Our clan naturally has to attend his founding ceremony. 2 over-gods have appeared in the provincial city. Who'll be the one who controls the city in the future then? Wainer Tsong said gloomily. Let alone the divine kingdom of Pingtian, 2 over-gods had never even appeared in the provincial cities of the neighboring divine kingdoms either. Only the royal city of a divine kingdom would possess many over-gods. Wainer Yan smiled coldly in response to that. He said, the Dong'an province will naturally be in our Wainer clan's control. Our Wainer clan is the proper clan in the provincial city. I naturally have no objections if the Tian Yuan clan wants to remain in the provincial city. In fact, I welcome them. I'd even give them quite a large piece of land. However, if they want to reign supreme within the provincial city, I can only kick them out of here. Chapter 1795, Founding Ceremony, 2. There were no absolute secrets in the world. Soon after the Tian Yuan clan sent invitations to the other clans in the provincial city, the upcoming founding ceremony caused quite an uproar within the provincial city. When the Tian Yuan clan was first founded, there were barely any people in the provincial city who paid attention to them. There were even many people who looked down on the small, newly founded clan. However, it was a completely different case now. The gods in the provincial city only suspected that it was extremely likely the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan was an over-god. Many other people had completely no idea about anything regarding the Tian Yuan clan. However, many people could tell that the Tian Yuan clan was not simple. Just the simple fact they possessed such a large energy-gathering formation and were still fine spoke volumes. As a result, the Tian Yuan clan had basically become the center of everyone's attention. Anything related to the Tian Yuan clan would garner the attention of everyone. The founding ceremony of the Tian Yuan clan was naturally not an exception. An extremely vast city sat on a land extremely distant from the Dong'an province like a slumbering, primordial beast. Just its ancient city walls that were covered with marks left behind by time was over 1,000 meters tall. From afar, it seemed to reach directly into the heavens. The city walls really could be described as towering into the clouds. It was majestic and extravagant, making for an extremely imposing sight. The city surrounded by the walls was almost boundless as well. It was several dozen times larger than the provincial city of the Dong'an province. Just traveling between the eastern and western gates of the city would take a relatively long time. For ordinary people, it would have even been impossible for them to cover that distance in their entire lifetimes. This city was the royal city of the divine kingdom of Pingtian. In the center of the royal city stood an ancient yet dignified royal palace. This was the most sacred and revered place in the entire divine kingdom of Pingtian because it was where the divine king and the grand imperial protector resided. The two of them were the most powerful existences in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, as well as the only 2 god kings. In the depths of the royal palace, inside a majestic hall, 2 people currently sat before each other as they focused their attention on the chessboard before them. One of them was a white-robed old man with a long, white beard. He seemed extremely ordinary, just like a regular mortal. His appearance was the type that would struggle to raise any attention if he stood in a crowd. The other person was a middle-aged man in purple robes. His face was resolute, and his eyes shone brightly, giving off a sense of dignity. The middle-aged man possessed the vague presence of a ruler. The middle-aged man was the divine king of the divine kingdom of Pingtian, while the old man before him was the grand imperial protector. A Tian Yuan clan has appeared in the Dong'an province. From the analysis of the information from the people below, the Tian Yuan clan was probably founded by Jian Chen. What do you think of it, Pingtian? The grand imperial protector held a white piece in his hand as he hesitated for quite some time while speaking calmly. You thought of Jian Chen extremely highly before, and since he can even repel Qianlong, he's very extraordinary. He'll even be able to become a god king in the future. Although this Jian Chen did seem to appear out of nowhere, so his origins are rather mysterious, that's not important. What is important is that since he plans on developing my divine kingdom of Pingtian, we naturally welcome him very much. After all, with every extra over-god our divine kingdom possesses, the stronger we grow, said the divine king. You share the same thoughts as me. Whether Jian Chen is a citizen of our divine kingdom of Pingtian or not, we have to rope him in no matter what. Even if we ignore his strength, just his background is enough for us to do that, the grand imperial protector said plainly as he stroked his beard. The divine king raised an eyebrow and said, Are you talking about the soul that Jian Chen assisted in God King Duanmu's dwelling, as well as the young man who saved him in the end? That's right. Before God King Duanmu passed away, he had managed to plant a foot in the primordial realm. He protected himself with the power of his laws. Even if we wanted to get through it, we'd have to spend quite some effort, yet that soul could pass actually through. And that young man who appeared outside was actually protected by another god king. That means that the organization behind him possesses a primordial realm expert at the very least, said the grand imperial protector. The divine king nodded. After a moment of thought, he called outside, Xian Do. With that, a black-robed, burly middle-aged man walked in from outside. He clasped his fist towards the divine king and the grand imperial protector. A sliver of reverence appeared on his face. To no surprise, the man called Xian Do was an over-god. The Tian Yuan clan of the Dong'an province is about to hold their founding ceremony. Take rich gifts with you to the Tian Yuan clan and congratulate their patriarch for me, the divine king said sternly. Yes, your majesty. Xian Do clasped his fist before backing away. In the icy world of the frigid snow province, Bing Lu stood before a huge, icy mountain with his hunched back and dragon-headed staff. Behind him was a middle-aged man in luxurious robes. He stood there politely as he even held his breath. The middle-aged man was the current patriarch of the Yubing clan, Bing Lin. Bing Lin, prepare rich gifts and personally visit the Dong'an province to congratulate the Tian Yuan clan on their founding. Also, greet the patriarch of the clan for me, Bing Lu said without even looking back. Yes, ancestor. At the same time, Guhan Shui, Feng Buell, and Eugene all sent people to the Dong'an province as well. There had been a total of 5 over-gods who had struck it off with Jian Chen in God King Duanmu's dwelling back then. Only Ling Hogong did not react to the founding ceremony. Ever since he left God King Duanmu's dwelling, he seemed to have completely vanished. No one knew where he had gone. 3 days later, the Tian Yuan clan was particularly busy. All the powerful clans in the provincial city had arrived at the clan early with great gifts, and without any exceptions, the people leading each group of clansmen were gods. The people all smiled and behaved extremely politely. Even when the Hua family and the Dong family possessed gods who were held captive in the Tian Yuan clan, they did not dare to show any displeasure as if they had completely forgotten the matter altogether. Chapter 1796, Founding Ceremony, 3. The people from the Dong and Hua families behaved like this because they all suspected that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan was an over-god. Without a single doubt, the entire provincial city would belong to the over-god now that he had come to the Dong'an province and founded a clan in the provincial city. Even the royal city would not interfere with this matter, so they naturally did not dare to offend the Tian Yuan clan. The patriarch of the Yubing clan has come to congratulate the Tian Yuan clan on its founding. Just when all the clans in the city had gathered, a loud voice suddenly rang out from outside. The message stunned all the people gathered within the hall. Surprise filled their faces soon afterwards. What? People from the Yubing clan of the frigid snow province have come? They've even come to congratulate the Tian Yuan clan on its founding. The patriarch of the Yubing clan has actually come personally. Am I hallucinating? The Yubing clan is an organization that possesses an over-god. Looks like the background of the Tian Yuan clan is far greater than we have ever imagined. Otherwise, why would the Yubing clan from one of the 5 great provincial cities send people here? The people from the powerful clans all murmured to themselves inside. However, before long, the following message utterly stunned the ancestors of the various clans again. They all stared at the entrance dumbfounded. The patriarch of the Guhan family has arrived, the patriarch of the Feng family has arrived, the patriarch of the Yu family has come. Aside from the sword-seeking province, the 4 other clans with over-gods among the 5 great provincial cities had all sent important figures with great gifts to congratulate the Tian Yuan clan on its founding. Moreover, these important figures were all the patriarchs of their clans. With just that, all the people from the provincial city of the Dong'an province struggled to remain calm. Just a founding ceremony of the Tian Yuan clan had attracted the congratulations from 4 organizations with over-gods. Just what kind of prestige did the Tian Yuan clan possess in the divine kingdom of Pingtian? After all, it was only founded recently and was mostly composed of people from the Mo clan and the Ando clan. The people of the Weiner clan sat at the very back of the hall. They had been seated there as it meant that they were one of the worst clans present. There were even many other clans who would treat the Weiner clan with disdain. A total of 4 people had come from the Weiner clan. They were the 2 gods, Weiner Tsong and Weiner Shuangguan, their over-god, Weiner Yen, and their late deity patriarch, Weiner Yi. Weiner Yen was in no hurry to reveal his strength, so he erased his presence and hid it away. He sat towards the back quietly, so he only seemed like a deity on the surface. At this moment, even Weiner Yen felt rather surprised when he discovered that 4 other clans with over-gods had sent important figures like their patriarchs to take part in the Tian Yuan clan's founding ceremony. However, Weiner Yen began to smile profoundly soon afterwards. He thought to himself, before long, our Weiner clan will be able to enjoy treatment like this as well. I will make the Weiner clan glorious and proud. The patriarchs of the Yubing clan, Guhan clan, Feng family, and Yu family walked side by side as they entered the hall together. They smiled as they conversed with Mo Ling and Ando Fu, who had come forth to receive them. They spoke politely and dismissed any arrogance that they might have possessed as patriarchs of clans with over-gods. This was because they had all come to visit under their ancestors' orders. They understood the power of the Tian Yuan clan. It was an existence that could never be provoked. After everyone had arrived, Jian finally entered the hall in white clothes. Beside him was Shangguan Mu'er in a purple dress. She held on to Jian Chen's arm gently as she made her way towards the seat at the very front with Jian Chen. At that moment, the entire hall fell silent. Whether it was the gods of the Dong'an province or the patriarchs of the 4 clans with over-gods, they all held their breaths as they stared at Jian Chen. Although Shangguan Mu'er was so pretty that she could be described as prettier than a goddess, clearly, no one was in the mood to pay any attention to her. What everyone cared for the most and paid the most attention to was Jian Chen, who possessed the strength of an over-god. This was because they understood that the entire provincial city would be in the young man's hands from this day onwards. Jian Chen and Shangguan Mu'er made their way to the throne that represented the patriarch's seat, and they sat down slowly. Jian Chen smiled plainly. He glanced past everyone below and clasped his hands. He said, I'm Jian Chen, and this is my beloved wife, Shangguan Mu'er. Thank you all for coming, ha ha ha, the journey was a little long, so I hope that I'm not late. The commander of the Royal Divine Army of the Divine Kingdom of Pingtian, Xian Do, greets the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. I congratulate the Tian Yuan clan on its founding, and I believe that the province will become more and more powerful under the lead of the Tian Yuan clan. Before Jian Chen had finished speaking, a rough voice rang out from outside. A burly, middle-aged man in black robes strode in. He bore a smile, filling him with a sense of friendliness. Even the commander of the Royal Divine Army have come. Aside from the Divine King and the Grand Imperial Protector, he's the one with the greatest authority. When overgods have appeared in other provinces, His Majesty the Divine King normally only sends god emissaries to congratulate them, yet His Majesty has actually sent the commander of the Royal Divine Army for the founding of the Tian Yuan clan. Sir Xian Do is a late overgod. He's the only one who can hold his ground against Yang Kai in our divine kingdom of Pingtian. Everyone's faces changed once again with Xian Do's entry. They all stood up and clasped their fists towards Xian Do politely. They were greatly unsettled inside. Jian Chen saw Xian Do, and his eyes immediately narrowed. He immediately stood up and clasped his fist towards Xian Do as well, greeting him politely. Xian Do's strength had actually reached late overgod. The only thing was that Xian Do had not entered God King Duanmu's dwelling. Although quite a few overgods of the divine kingdom of Pingtian had gathered within God King Duanmu's dwelling, they only accounted for 70 or 80% of the entire kingdom's overgods. In reality, there were a few overgods that did not take part. Patriarch, I have come under the orders of His Majesty to congratulate you. Please accept this. With a wave of his hand, 10 blocks of high-grade divine crystal appeared in the air. Although he was a late overgod, he did not act snobbishly towards Jian Chen at all. The sight of 10 blocks of high-grade divine crystal surprised Jian Chen. This was a great gift and a tremendous amount of wealth to him currently. It had even surpassed what he obtained from God King Duanmu's dwelling. His Majesty is just far too polite. I do hope Senior Xian Do can thank His Majesty for me for his great gifts, Jian Chen said with clasped fists. After accepting the 10 blocks of divine crystal, the founding ceremony for the Tian Yuan clan began. Jian Chen also declared that the Tian Yuan clan had been founded in the provincial city as the patriarch of the clan. Congratulations on the founding of the Tian Yuan clan. From today onwards, our Nanyan clan is willing to abide by anything the patriarch says. Nanyan Tong stood forwards first. At the same time, he expressed that his Nanyan clan was willing to submit to the Tian Yuan clan. Congratulations on the founding of the Tian Yuan clan. Looks like with the Tian Yuan clan, our Dong'an province has become the 6th great province of the divine kingdom of Pingtian. Ha ha ha. I have utter confidence that our Dong'an province will become more and more powerful under the lead of the patriarch. A few ancestors of the clans in the provincial city spoke out. Just like the Nanyan clan, they directly expressed their desire to submit to the Tian Yuan clan. As for the other clans, although they did not directly say that they wanted to submit to the Tian Yuan clan, they all expressed their willingness to abide by the control of the Tian Yuan clan and any arrangements they made. Patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, I've heard that you weren't a person of our Dong'an province initially. As a result, I have no objections if you want to found a clan in the provincial city, but if you want to reign supreme and unite all the clans, I, Weiner Yen, cannot allow this. At this moment, a discordant voice rang out from below. All the people in the hall immediately became stunned when they heard that. Shock filled their faces. Before everyone, someone had actually stated his objection towards an overgod so publicly. He was simply too bold. The commander of the Royal Divine Army, Xian Do, was slightly stunned as well. He soon looked in Weiner Yan's direction, and his eyes immediately narrowed. His face became rather strange as well. Chapter 1797. Too small for two. This person is actually an overgod. He really hit it well. If he did not speak out and draw my attention, I probably still would not know that there was a second overgod in this hall, Xian Do thought. Reflexively, he glanced at Jian Chen, who sat on the patriarch's throne, and his expression became rather strange. He mumbled to himself, looking at it like this, the hidden overgod clearly wants to dominate the entire Dong'an province. The Dong'an province is too small for two overgods to reign supreme. Looks like there'll be a show soon. However, the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is very strong. I heard from the overgods who have returned from God King Duanmu's dwelling that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, Jianchen, had slain 2 early overgods in the dwelling. Even Yang Kai feared him slightly. At the same time, the patriarch has some ties with the overgods from the 5 great provincial cities. A light flickered through Xian Dou's eyes. Although he had not entered God King Duanmu's dwelling, quite a few overgods from the royal city had, so he naturally knew about the events that had transpired in there. As the commander of the royal divine army whose cultivation had reached overgod, it was naturally nothing difficult for him to learn about what had happened from the other overgods. Seeing Weiner Yen object to Jianchen so publicly, all the gods gathered in the hall looked towards him as well. Since Weiner Yen had maintained an extremely low profile before and concealed his cultivation, he did not draw any attention in the hall earlier. Now that he had exposed himself, many people recognized him immediately. It's Weiner Yen. He was once the greatest prodigy of the province. He went from being a mortal to a god in just a few dozen millennia before spending 5,000 years to go from an early god to mid-god. Weiner Yan's talent is very impressive. At the very least, in our Dong'an province, no one could rival him. It's just that he went traveling 10,000 years ago. I never thought he would return today. Weiner Yen sure is bold to speak out against the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan so publicly. Can't he see that not only have people from 4 of the 5 great provinces come, even the commander of the Royal Divine Army, Sir Xian Dou, has come to congratulate the patriarch as well. After recognizing Weiner Yen, a low hum of discussion immediately appeared in the hall. The seated gods all began to discuss with each other quietly. The reason behind their discussions was to provide Jianchen with some information regarding Weiner Yen indirectly or to use the opportunity to curry up to Jianchen directly. Jianchen also looked towards Weiner Yen. He had been expected this because he knew that a second overgod had appeared in the provincial city, and as soon as he had entered the hall, Jianchen discovered him. This was not because Jianchen had seen through Weiner Yen before Xian Dou. Rather, he had always been paying attention to the second overgod in the provincial city. On the other hand, Xian Dou never paid too much attention to anyone else in the hall. He did not even properly look at them, so naturally, Xian Dou failed to discover the hidden Weiner Yen. Weiner Yan's method of disguise was nothing special. It was difficult for those below overgod to tell his strength, but overgods would find out once they paid attention to him. Brother, congratulations on becoming an overgod. From today onwards, our divine kingdom of Pingtian has gained another peak expert. Jianchen stood up and clasped his fist towards Weiner Yen. He smiled plainly, without minding Weiner Yan's words too much. What? Overgod? Weiner Yen has become an overgod. How is that possible? In just 10,000 years, Weiner Yen has gone from being a mid-god to an overgod. The Weiner clan has actually given birth to an overgod. Everyone was immediately shocked and they heard Jianchen's words. Disbelief filled all their eyes. Weiner Yen could not help but reveal a sliver of complacency when he saw the shocked faces of the gods around him. He walked forward slowly and stood in the center of the hall. He clasped his fist towards Jianchen. I am Weiner Yen, and I also congratulate the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan on becoming the second overgod of our Dong'an province. With the existence of the patriarch, my Dong'an province has now become the greatest province in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, both in name and reality. Weiner Yen labeled Jianchen as the second overgod of the Dong'an province to declare to everyone that he was the first one. He spoke even more firmly towards the end, directly referring to the Dong'an province as his. Without a doubt, he was declaring to Jianchen that he owned the Dong'an province. The gods gathered here all held their breaths. All of them were knowledgeable and cunning, so they could naturally tell what Weiner Yen was hinting at. Their faces became rather strange, and there was some eagerness as well. They all understood that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan and Weiner Yen would probably engage in a fierce struggle soon. At this moment, Weiner Yen clasped his fist towards Xian Dou, who watched on from one side. He immediately dismissed any snobbishness and said sincerely, in a few days, our Weiner clan will be holding a celebration as well. We will also be setting down some rules for the Dong'an province. I do hope that Senior Xian Do can grant me the honor and come to visit our Wainer clan. Xian Do clasped his hands back at Wainer Yen and said, once the founding ceremony of the Tian Yuan clan comes to an end, I must hurry back to the royal city for new orders. I may not be able to make your clan's celebration. Xian Do did not care about the Wainer clan's celebration at all. The divine kingdom of Pingtian had gained an over-god, holding great significance for the kingdom. Basically, they would receive great gifts from the divine king every time this happened, but there was no need for him, the commander of the royal divine army and a late over-god, to visit personally. Normally, a late god emissary would be enough. The Tian Yuan clan was an exception. Wainer Yan's face changed slightly. He could naturally tell what Xian Do was trying to say. His Wainer clan did not possess the right to invite Xian Do. Xian Do had come visiting with rich gifts for the Tian Yuan clan's founding ceremony, yet he was unwilling to even grant him the honor of attending his Wainer clan celebration at all. Without a single doubt, it meant that his Wainer clan was not as great as the newly founded Tian Yuan clan in Xian Do's eyes. Wainer Yan's face darkened slightly. Chapter 1798. The Earth Spirit Sect. Looks like the Wainer clan has not caught Sir Xian Do's eye, even when they've gained an over-god, Wainer Yan. However, it seems like Sir Xian Do has personally come to visit the Tian Yuan clan due to the orders of His Majesty. Hence, it'll be more correct to say that Wainer Yan has not caught the eye of the Divine King. Xian Do's behavior caused many of the gods currently gathered in the hall to change their minds slightly. Their gazes towards Jian Chen underwent some minute changes as well. This was because they had realized that the provincial city would probably fall under the Tian Yuan clan's control. Even though that was the case, the gods from the various clans still did not dare to show any disrespect towards the Wainer clan. After all, the Wainer clan was an organization with an over-god now. Although Wainer Yen felt like Xian Do's behavior had embarrassed him, the latter was a late over-god, so Wainer Yen could do nothing about it. Then he looked towards Jian Chen and clasped his fist. In a few days, our Wainer clan will hold a celebration and formally announce that we are now a clan with an over-god to the entire divine kingdom of Pingtian. At the same time, we will lead the province in all matters and pass down some regulations. I hope the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan will grant me the honor of coming. Wainer Yan's voice was assertive. Even though he knew that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan was also an over-god, he showed no fear at all, even when he mentioned how he wanted to lead the entire province. Jian Chen's face did not change at all. He sat on the patriarch's throne without moving at all and looked at Wainer Yen from above. He said plainly, "It would be rude for me to not. You have granted me the honor of you attending our founding ceremony today, so I will naturally attend your celebration." Wainer Yen frowned when he heard that. He was not in a good mood. The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan had basically said that he was only willing to take part in the Wainer clan celebration because Wainer Yen had come to his founding ceremony. If Wainer Yen had not come to the founding ceremony, the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan would probably not attend his Wainer clan celebration. What Wainer Yen found to be even more unacceptable was how the patriarch actually sat high up on the throne and spoke to him while looking down. His face had become rather cold. At this moment, Jian Chen continued, "Though about the province, I think it's best to keep it as it is right now. There's completely no need for any extra regulations. Too many regulations will affect the development of the province." All the gods present secretly beamed inside when they heard that. They were not celebrating the fact that Jian Chen wanted to keep the Dong'an province as it was right now. Instead, they were happy that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan had already begun disagreeing with Wainer Yen. Many of them behaved extremely obediently because they were over-gods, but they felt the exact opposite inside. As a result, they were really eager to see the over-gods of the Tian Yuan clan and the Wainer clan turn on each other. They hoped it would get to the point where both over-gods suffered heavy injuries. Xian Do also stood to one side with his crossed arm. He said nothing. However, He felt very perplexed over what would happen as well. Two overgods had actually appeared in a single provincial city. It was going to be lively. Wainer Yan's face sank when he heard Jian Chen's words. His gaze gradually turned into a glare, and he said coldly, "Are you saying that you want to oppose my Wainer clan? Do you also think that my Wainer clan does not have the right to rule over the Dong'an province?" Suddenly, Wainer Yan took out a yellow token. He held the token high in the air and called out, "May I ask if my Wainer clan has the right now?" A protector's token from the Earth Spirit sect. Xian Dou's face changed suddenly when he saw the token, and he cried out. He was extremely shocked. "That's right, it's from the Earth Spirit sect." Wainer Yan became very complacent. He could not help but smile arrogantly. The expressions of the gods present all changed slightly when they heard the words, Earth Spirit sect. They all looked towards Wainer Yan in disbelief. "Commander Xian, may I ask about the Earth Spirit sect?" Jian Chen asked Xian Dou secretly. He had only come to the Dong'an province for so long, so he naturally had no idea about the Earth Spirit sect. A sliver of surprise appeared on Xian Dou's face when he heard Jian Chen's question. He had probably never considered that Jian Chen would not have heard of the Earth Spirit sect despite being an overgod. However, Xian Dou still explained the matter to Jian Chen patiently. The Earth Spirit sect is one of the two most powerful sects in the Heavenly Moon Empire. They're extremely powerful, and they possess 5 or 6 god kings. They also have far more overgods than our divine kingdom of Pingtian. I never thought that this Wainer Yan would be a protector from the Earth Spirit sect. He possesses a certain level of status in the Earth Spirit sect. As such, matters will become difficult now, Jian Chen. Xian Dou explained Wainer Yan's identity rather solemnly. Although Wainer Yan was only an early overgod, the sect behind him was not an existence that could be provoked. The Heavenly Moon Empire? The Earth Spirit sect? Looks like I'll need to spend some time to understand the Cloud Plane properly, thought Jian Chen. He realized that his understanding of the Cloud Plane was simply too limited. Patriarch, Commander Xian Dou, may I ask if there's anything you want to say? Wainer Yan held the protector's token as he spoke to Jian Chen and Xian Dou arrogantly. Xian Dou furrowed his brows. He clearly feared Wainer Yan's identity slightly. It was not good news for the Divine Kingdom if he offended a protector of the Earth Spirit sect. This was because the Earth Spirit sect was just too powerful. Even with the Heavenly Moon Empire in perspective, they were one of the 2 most powerful sections. Even the imperial family of the Heavenly Moon Empire feared the 2 sects slightly. Wainer Yan, it's the same as I've said before. It's best if we keep the Dong'an province as it is right now, said Jian Chen. He did not show any fear. He had already founded his own clan in the Dong'an province, so he naturally could not let an early overgod dominate him. Although he was not interested in controlling the provincial city, he could not remain in the provincial city forever. He would leave someday. As a result, he had to ensure that the Tian Yuan clan possessed a stable position in the Dong'an province before his departure. If that's the case, there's no need for your Tian Yuan clan to remain in the provincial city. Piss off, Wainer Yan became angered. With that, he charged towards Jian Chen with lightning speed. He clenched his right hand into a fist and directly threw it at Jian Chen's face. A gleam of cold light flickered through Jian Chen's eyes. He suddenly stood up and stood in front of Shengguan Mu'er. Forming a sword with his fingers, he immediately produced a dazzling streak of light to receive Wainer Yan's punch. Chapter 1799, Fighting Wainer Yan Boom. As the sword chi from the tip of Jian Chen's fingers collided with Wainer Yan's fist, a deafening boom rang out. However, Wainer Yan's fist was extremely tough. A powerful layer of laws surrounded it, and he directly used the toughness of his body to take on Jian Chen's sword chi. Jian Chen's sword chi immediately shattered after striking Wainer Yan's fist. It shot into the surroundings as countless tiny strands. Wainer Yan shuddered, and he took a few steps back uncontrollably. A mark had appeared on his fist and blood flowed from there. At the same time, defensive formations immediately appeared in the discussion hall to stop the shockwaves from the conflict. However, Mo Ling and Ando Fu had cast down all of these formations, so their power was limited. They were more than enough to stop the attacks of gods, but they were extremely fragile before the shockwaves from the attacks of overgods. As soon as the formations appeared, the shockwaves from Jian Chen and Weiner Yan's clash shattered them to pieces. As the shockwaves expanded, all the gods in the hall suffered as a result. Many of their expressions changed, and they staggered backwards from the powerful shockwaves. Blood dripped from the corner of a few people's mouths as they paled, clearly slightly injured now. Only the three late gods were able to remain where they were with their powerful cultivation, but it had forced them to use everything they possessed. The discussion hall shook violently. Even though the discussion hall had been constructed from very tough material, it was unable to stand up to the shockwaves from overgods without the protection of powerful formations. With a deep rumble, the grand hall directly collapsed, reduced to ruins. Dust was kicked into the air. Jian Chen remained before the patriarch's throne. At that moment, only the part of the structure behind the throne remained fine, while Shangguan Mu'er, who he guarded, was naturally fine as well. However, the faces of both Jian Chen and Shangguan Mu'er had become extremely sunken now. Today was the day when the Tian Yuan clan was holding their founding ceremony. It was a sacred and solemn day, yet the overgod from the Weiner clan actually wanted to start fighting without taking the surroundings into account, destroying the discussion hall of the Tian Yuan clan. His actions were basically a slap to the Tian Yuan clan's face. The gods all looked at the ruins of the building and could not help but glance at each other. On such an important day, someone had actually taken apart the discussion hall of the Tian Yuan clan. They all realized that the Tian Yuan clan and Weiner clan had probably fallen out. Mu'er, leave first. Be careful, Jian Chen said to Shangguan Mu'er gently. However, his face was extremely sunken, and his gaze was as sharp as swords as a powerful killing intent flashed through his eyes. He stared at the fearless Weiner Yan. Be careful too, Shangguan Mu'er said gently from behind Jian Chen before leaving slowly. She knew that Jian Chen had become angered. Weiner Yan gradually became stern. He had been expecting this before, so he did not take everything to heart. Even though Jian Chen was also an overgod, he treated him like nothing because he was a protector of the Earth Spirit sect. Let alone Xian Dou, even if the Divine King wanted to touch him, he would have to consider the consequences properly. As a result, he did not need to fear the Tian Yuan clan at all thanks to the great background he possessed. However, his heart suddenly jumped when he saw the patriarch's sharp glare that was filled with killing intent. He sensed an ill omen and immediately raised his guard secretly. Suddenly, Jian Chen surged into the sky. Powerful and sharp sword qi permeated his surroundings, shining with bright, white light. He seemed to have become a huge sword as he shot away from the city. Weiner Yan, I will be waiting for you outside the city. Show me just what a protector of the Earth Spirit sect has to be able to act so recklessly in my Tian Yuan clan. Jian Chen's voice rang out far and wide. It was audible across the entire city. Weiner Yan could hear the disdain and provocation in Jian Chen's voice. He immediately frowned, and with a cold snort, he followed Jian Chen. 1,000,000 kilometers away from the provincial city, Jian Chen hovered at an altitude of 10,000 kilometers with a sunken face. His white clothes and long hair fluttered in the wind as he stared at Weiner Yan sharply. The presence he gave off was like a sharp sword. It directly plunged into the sky, stirring up the surrounding wind and clouds. Weiner Yan, I will make you understand that my Tian Yuan clan is not a place where anyone can act however they like. Even if you're a protector of the Earth Spirit sect, the provincial city is not a place where you can act as you please, Jian Chen said coldly. Weiner Yan hovered in the sky before Jian Chen with his arms crossed. He was fearless as he said coldly, the Dong'an province belongs to my Weiner clan, so it's not up to you to tell me what I can and cannot do in the provincial city. Patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, come at me. Let me see just what you're capable of. Don't make me disappointed. A cold light flickered through Jian Chen's eyes. He took a step in the air, and he covered 1,000 meters just like that. He appeared before Weiner Yan as if he had teleported, extending a finger towards Weiner Yan's forehead. As he extended his finger, an extremely bright streak of light condensed instantly. It radiated with sword qi. The strand of sword qi was clearly much more powerful than the one he had used back in the discussion hall. Jian Chen had only struck out casually to nullify Weiner Yan's attack back in the discussion hall. Only now did he use his true power. Humph, you want to kill me right from the start. I'm not that easy to kill, Weiner Yan said coldly. His arms swelled up rapidly as his muscles bulged. They became extremely tough. His hands had become extremely thick and large as well. His fingers were like metal, filled with power as they flickered with a bronze light. He directly slapped at Jian Chen's sword qi. Seeing Weiner Yan's response, Jian Chen twisted his wrist, and the sword qi that shot towards Weiner Yan's forehead immediately stabbed towards his palm. Chapter 1800, Laws of Strength Ding. This time, when Jian Chen's sword qi stabbed Weiner Yan's hand, there was actually the screeching of metal. Weiner Yan's hand had reached an unimaginable level of toughness. Jian Chen's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Weiner Yan in surprise. An extremely great force was emitted from Weiner Yan's palm, passing through the sword qi Jian Chen had condensed and directly into his arm. The sword qi immediately dulled. The great force rushed up rapidly and turned his sleeve to tatters. Even he could not help but take a step back from the great force. Laws of strength, Jian Chen murmured as a gleam of light flashed through his eyes. The laws of strength represented the strength of the world. Those who had comprehended this law possessed a body so tough that it had reached an unbelievable level. Most importantly, the laws of strength were also known to be one of the most offensive laws. This was because strength represented an offense, pure offense. Weiner Yan glanced at his huge hand that flickered with bronze light. He saw a deep wound on his powerful hand. Although he had managed to stop Jian Chen's sword qi with his body, his hand was still injured. Weiner Yan was secretly astonished by the wound. He did not use his full strength in the discussion hall before, so it was very natural for the sword qi to injure him earlier. However, he had already unleashed his full strength now. He had even used the battle skill he had learnt from the Earth Spirit sect, which strengthened his hand. Yet, it was still not enough to stop Jian Chen's sword qi. The unique battle skill he had learnt from the Earth Spirit sect was created especially for those who had comprehended the laws of strength. Once they used the battle skill, the toughness of their bodies would be raised to a whole, new, unimaginable level. They could basically be called human weapons. It was rare for anyone at the same level to be their opponent, and they would even be able to kill people at higher cultivation levels. Of course, that was given that they did not encounter any other prodigies with terrifying strength as well. I've underestimated the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. He's stronger than I initially thought, Weiner Yan became stern. From the clash before, he could tell that he was slightly weaker than Jian Chen. In the distance, Xian Dou hovered in the air as he watched the two of them clash. He was secretly amazed, both Weiner Yan and Jian Chen possess extraordinary strength. Most importantly, the laws that they've comprehended are very powerful. No wonder Weiner Yan managed to become a protector of the Earth Spirit sect. It's all because of the laws of strength he has comprehended. However, Weiner Yan is still a little weaker than Jian Chen. Weiner Yan's comprehension of laws is only at early over God, while Jian Chen's comprehension has probably reached mid over God. Weiner Yan clenched his left hand into a fist and directly hurled it out to deal with the incoming sword qi. The Daluo sword had basically run out of power after severing Weiner Yan's 4 fingers. It immediately collapsed from Weiner Yan's punch, scattering as residual sword qi. However, just when Weiner Yan had dispersed the sword qi, another strand of golden sword qi shot over with lightning speed, punching through his chest in just the blink of an eye. Weiner Yan's body trembled violently. Blood directly spurted from his mouth as his face paled. However, he comprehended the laws of strength after all. Not only was his physical strength shocking, but great power also inhabited his body. He was extremely powerful after transforming. Even though he was injured, his battle prowess was not overly affected. Mountains imprint. Weiner Yen bellowed out. He raised his left hand towards the sky, and a mountain immediately appeared. He grabbed it and smashed it towards Jian Shen heavily. As the mountain fell, it rapidly expanded to the point where it could blot out the sun in a single instance. It became a towering piece of rock as it crushed down on Jian Shen. At the same time, the mountain gave off an invisible energy. All the space in the range of the attack froze. Jian Shen felt his body sink as if he had ended up in quicksand. He was unable to dodge the mountainous attack, so he could only take it head-on. Chapter 1801, Obliteration. This Weiner Yen does have some ability, Jian Shen thought. He had come across quite a few early overgods in God King Duanmu's dwelling, but none of them were on the same level as Weiner Yen. It could be said that Weiner Yen was the strongest early overgod he had encountered so far. He was no weaker than Ling Ho Gong, or even slightly stronger. This was because the battle skills that Weiner Yen possessed all came from the Earth Spirit sect. They were of high grade and possessed extraordinary might. Tai sword technique. Jian Shen formed a hand seal, and a bright, white light surrounded him instantly. He turned into a sword as he shot into the sky with dazzling light. From afar, he seemed like a comet in reverse. He collided with the huge mountain that blotted out the sun with a seemingly unstoppable force. The mountain was no ordinary mountain but something condensed from Weiner Yan's cultivation as an early overgod and his power of laws through a battle technique. It possessed an extremely terrifying might. Boom! Jian Shen directly collided with the colossal mountain, and a visible ripple of energy gushed out, expanding as a ring. Jian Shen was like a sharp sword, directly driving through the bottom of the mountain. He moved linearly through the mountain with lightning speed. In just a short moment, he pierced through the entire thing, emerging from the highest point. He was like a miniature sun, shining with dazzling light as he hovered in the air. A tiny crack suddenly appeared on the colossal mountain condensed from Weiner Yan's battle skill. The crack immediately caused a chain reaction. More and more cracks appeared, covering the entire mountain very soon. Boom! In the end, the entire mountain collapsed with a deep rumble. It turned into surging energy that wreaked havoc as a storm, while the mountain itself vanished from the space there. Weiner Yen trembled violently, blood spurted from his mouth and into the sky. He became even paler. He raised his head as he stared at Jian Shen in shock. At this moment, Jian Shen had seemingly become a sword. He had already readjusted his judgment of Jian Shen before, yet Jian Shen's strength still managed to surprise him. The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is actually so powerful. His cultivation level is clearly lackluster, and he only possesses a slight edge in terms of laws. I thought that even if he would emerge victorious in his battle against Weiner Yen, it would be quite difficult, but looking at it now, Weiner Yen is nowhere close to being Jian Shen's opponent. He has actually been completely suppressed in their battle. Xian Dou stared at Jian Shen in surprise. Clearly, Jian Shen's strength had left him taken aback as well. Moreover, he knew that Jian Shen had not used his full strength today. This was because he had not used his trump card, which he revealed in God King Duanmu's dwelling back then. That move had allowed him to take the lives of early overgods. Looks like the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan has the upper hand. Weiner Yen has already become heavily injured, while the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan is completely unscathed apart from his tattered sleeve. The patriarch is just too powerful. The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan's strength is probably even greater than the overgods of the 5 great provinces. No wonder they showed him so much respect and even sent important members of their clan to congratulate him. The gods of the provincial city all communicated with each other secretly. They were all amazed as they looked at Jian Chen in fear and admiration. A few days before, there was an over-god who fought against Master Qianlong. Could that person be the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan? Suddenly, a spectating god said softly. Everyone present immediately became startled when they heard that, and they all paled soon afterwards. Master Qianlong was a late over-god and a formation master. He possessed extremely great mastery over formations, so many over-god feared him very much. As a result, he was exceedingly famous. If the mysterious expert who fought against Master Qianlong outside the city before was the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, he would simply be too terrifying. At that time, everyone stared at the figure that seemed smaller than an ant in the distant sky. They all wondered about that. No one paid any attention to Weiner Yan at that moment. Suddenly, Jian Chen descended with lightning speed, directly shooting towards Weiner Yan as he shone with dazzling light. Weiner Yan hovered in the air sternly as a giant. Powerful laws of strength condensed in his left hand as he threw it towards Jian Chen. With the punch, space rippled. Pure and great power surged through the space, scattering the origin energy there. The punch was immensely powerful, but Jian Chen was currently using the Tai sword technique. He was far more powerful than usual. Boom! This time, Weiner Yan's punch was obliterated. Before the powerful sword qi, not only had he lost his hand, but even the flesh and bone of his entire left arm from his wrist rapidly vanished. It turned into minced meat and shattered bone as they fell from the sky. The affected part reached up to his shoulder. Weiner Yan could not help but grunt from the intense pain. His entire left hand had already vanished. Even though his body had been strengthened, he was still unable to resist Jian Chen's attack, so he suffered heavy injuries. Spurt. 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 Jian Chen did not give Weiner Yan any time to catch his breath. He directly struck out, and 4 strands of powerful sword qi pierced through Weiner Yan's body, making him vomit blood. In the end, he kicked Weiner Yan's chest firmly. Weiner Yan collided with the ground heavily. The entire region of earth shook violently, kicking up soil and dust that covered him up. Jian Chen landed on the ground and slowly made his way towards the deep pit Weiner Yan's descent caused. He directly looked through the dust in the air, clearly looking at Weiner Yan in the pit. Weiner Yan, is this the right to act arrogantly in my Tian Yuan clan you were speaking of? Jian Chen said nonchalantly. His emotionless, icy-cold voice was filled with mockery. Although he had basically used his full strength in the battle against Weiner Yan, even using the Daliao sword and Tai sword technique, he had emerged completely unscathed. Weiner Yan was very powerful. There was barely anyone who could stand against him at the same level of cultivation. However, he was still not enough before Jian Chen. Chapter 1802, Glory of the Tian Yuan clan. Weiner Yan leapt out of the pit he created. He had returned to his original size while his body was covered with vicious wounds. He was covered in blood. In particular, the stab wounds on his body created a chilling sight. Although Weiner Yan had been defeated, he did not appear dispirited at all. Instead, he glared at Jian Chen and said coldly, "Patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, don't get cocky too soon. Just because you're able to defeat me this time doesn't represent how powerful you are. Your comprehension of laws was just deeper than mine. If we were at the same level of comprehension, who knows who'll be defeated instead." Weiner Yan continued after pausing for a slight moment. However, Weiner Yan, am not a person who does not admit defeat. You win this time, so our Weiner clan will not interfere with the matters of the Dong'an province. We'll let your Tian Yuan clan rule in power for now. Once I comprehend the laws of strength to mid-over God, I'll fight you again. At that time, I'd like to see if you can still defeat me. With that, Weiner Yan left as a blur, directly flying towards the provincial city. Weiner Yan's departure left the surrounding gods amazed. Many people were filled with vigor. A great battle between 2 over-gods had unfolded before them. Although the battle did not last for long, they had benefited greatly from watching on. Most importantly, all of them had understood the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan's strength clearly. I never thought that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan would be such a powerful overgod. Hua Luji has been far too reckless. He almost doomed the clan, thought the strongest expert of the Hua family. At the same time, he was secretly relieved. Fortunately, the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan did not pursue the matter, or his Hua family would have been in great trouble. Hua Luji is still held captive in the Tian Yuan clan. Whatever, I won't beg for his mercy. His life can be decided by fate. I just hope that the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan won't direct his rage towards our Hua family just because of Hua Luji. At the same time, similar thoughts crossed the mind of the late god from the Dong family. He was filled with regret about how the god of his family had offended the patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. I never thought that brother Jian Chen would possess such great mastery over the sword. You really have broadened my horizons. Xian Dou flew over and clasped his fist towards Jian Chen with a smile. You flatter me, Commander Xian. Compared to Commander Xian, my comprehension of the laws of the sword is nothing. Jian Chen clasped his fist back at him and said politely. Xian Dou chuckled aloud. After talking some more with Jian Chen, he said sternly, another overgod has appeared in the Dong'an province. I must report this matter to His Majesty immediately. Brother Jian Chen, I will be bidding farewell to you today. If I have the time in the future, I will definitely come to visit you again. Take care, Commander Xian. My Tian Yuan clan welcomes you at all times, said Jian Chen. Oh right. Brother Jian Chen, never look down on Weiner Yen. Although he's not your opponent, the Earth Spirit sect behind him is quite a significant power. They're so powerful that even our divine kingdom are unable to fend them off if we began fighting. Please be careful, Brother Jian Chen, said Xian Dou. He was extremely stern. He feared the Earth Spirit sect very much. Jian Chen nodded to express that he understood. Soon afterwards, Xian Dou shot off into the distance with great speed, he only left behind a blur. He vanished into the horizon in a single moment. With Xian Dou's departure, the eager gods in the surroundings finally gained the opportunity to speak. They all spoke to Jian Chen politely and with admiration. Back in the provincial city, Jian Chen returned to the Tian Yuan clan and stood before the rubble that used to be the discussion hall. Mo Ling and Ando Fu stood there silently. They would reveal admiration in their gazes towards Jian Chen from time to time. Now, Mo Ling could no longer refer to Jian Chen as a brother like before. Even though Jian Chen treated him exactly the same, he lowered himself to a much lesser position. This was because the concept that power was everything had already become deeply rooted in Mo Ling's mind. He was unable to change it. Behind Jian Chen were the gods from the other clans in the provincial city. They did not return to their clans. Instead, they chose to return to the Tian Yuan clan with Jian Chen. They all remained silent as they stared at the ruined discussion hall. Jian Chen, are you fine? Shangguan Mu'er walked over from afar. She asked in concern as she stared at Jian Chen's tattered sleeve. She did not spectate the previous battle due to her strength. Jian Chen finally smiled warmly as he watched Shangguan Mu'er make her way over slowly. He nodded his head gently and said, I'm fine. With that, he turned towards Mo Ling and Ando Fu and said, Brother Mo Ling, Ando Fu, the destroyed discussion hall must be rebuilt as soon as possible. I will be troubling the two of you with this. Yes, Patriarch, Ando Fu and Mo Ling replied together. Patriarch, we are willing to offer up our power and reconstruct the discussion hall with you, said the gods from the other clans behind him. They expressed their sincerity. Jian Chen naturally turned down the offer. He did not need outsiders to build his discussion hall. The provincial city returned to its previous peaceful state. It was just as busy and prosperous as before as people flowed in and out of the city everywhere. It seemed exactly the same as before from the surface. However, the structure of power in the city had undergone an overwhelming change. The powerful clans no longer controlled the city. Instead, it had become the world of the Tian Yuan clan. The city belonged to the Tian Yuan clan. All the clans had to abide by the various orders that the Tian Yuan clan passed down. Even though the Weiner clan had given birth to an overgod as well, they kept an extremely low profile just like before. Even though their status was nowhere near as great as the Tian Yuan clan, they were also a clan with an overgod, so they possessed extremely great status in the provincial city. No one in the city dared to provoke them. Weiner Yen immediately entered seclusion after his battle against Jian Chen. He no longer bothered himself with the matters of the clan. Chapter 1803, The 5 Regions of the Cloud Plain. At this moment, Weiner Yen sat in a room within the Weiner clan as he recovered from his wounds. Even though he had already ingested healing pills, his injuries recovered at an extremely gradual rate. This was because the power of laws of the sword had contaminated all his wounds. If he did not cleanse the wounds of the power first, he would not be able to heal. His laws of strength had granted him an extremely tough body, and it reached an unbelievable level with the amplification of battle skills. It was even enough to rival Jian Chen's chaotic body. However, his recovery rate was nowhere near as great as the chaotic bodies. I heard that you were only a god when God King Duanmu's dwelling was opened, patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan. It has only been a few short years, yet you've become an overgod, and your comprehension of the laws of the sword have even exceeded my comprehension of the laws of strength, reaching the level of mid-overgods. Looks like you obtained quite the fortune in God King Duanmu's dwelling, or you were hiding your strength on purpose before. Perhaps you broke through to overgod a very long time ago, thought Weiner Yen. He did not feel any envy towards the fortune Jian Chen had obtained. But even if you've obtained some fortune or legacy that allowed your comprehension to skyrocket, it's from a dead god king in the end. I, Weiner Yen, have my own fortune, and that was to become a part of the Earth Spirit sect. Weiner Yen closed his eyes slowly. He lowered his head to glance at his vicious injuries as his lips curled into a faint smile. Great confidence and pride flooded his face as he murmured, "Not only have I joined the Earth Spirit sect, becoming a protector, but my master is a God King as well. Even though my master is not as famous as God King Duanmu, nor is he as powerful as God King Duanmu, who even made it onto the God King's throne, he is still alive. A living God King is still more useful than a dead one no matter what. With my master's guidance and nurturing, my strength will grow rapidly. It won't be an exaggeration at all to describe it as skyrocketing. And apart from my master, even the great ancestor will give me some guidance from time to time. Jian Chen, how can your mere fortune from God King Duanmu's dwelling match up to mine? And even without the guidance of other experts, I only used 35,000 years to become a mid-god. My cultivation speed will only become faster with master's personal guidance and the resources of the Earth Spirit sect. Moreover, my laws of strength have already arrived at the edge of mid-overgod. In less than 500 years, I'll be able to become a mid-overgod. In just 45,000 years, I'll have become a mid-overgod. Patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan, I wonder how much time you've used. You can dominate me right now, but who knows if you still can in the future, Weiner Yen revealed a cold smile. He was filled with eagerness for one of those days in the coming 5 centuries. This was because he was confident that as long as he could reach the level of mid-overgod with his comprehension of laws, he would be the victor. A few days later, the discussion hall in the Tian Yuan clan had been rebuilt. Currently, Jian Chen was listening to Mo Ling and Ando Fu's reports in there. Patriarch, the Hua family and the Dong family have offered up 2/3 of their territory. Apart from them, the other clans in the city have offered up parts of their territory as well. Our Tian Yuan clan now possesses half of the territory in the city. Moreover, all the entry fees paid by outsiders will belong to our Tian Yuan clan in the future. The fees and revenue from the various businesses in the city will amount to several 100,000 low-grade divine crystals daily. Has the Weiner clan made any moves recently? Jian Chen asked. The Weiner clan has not, it is just like before, said Ando Fu. After a moment of thought, Jian Chen said from the patriarch's throne, after deducting the expenses of the clan from the income of divine crystals, split half of it among everyone as remuneration. Give the other half to the madam. Yes, Patriarch, Mo Ling and Ando Fu replied simultaneously. Then Jian Chen looked down. In the hall, there were 4 other gods aside from Mo Ling and Ando Fu. The 4 of them came from the Nanyan clan. Nanyan Tong, how much do you know about the Earth Spirit sect and the Heavenly Moon Empire? Jian Chen asked. Now that the Nanyan clan had joined the Tian Yuan clan, they were technically people of the Tian Yuan clan. Nanyan Tong tidied himself a little and stood up politely. He said with a bow, Patriarch, the Heavenly Moon Empire is one of the 6 ancient empires of the southern region of the Cloud Plain. Every single one of the 6 ancient empires possesses unfathomable strength. It's far beyond what we can imagine. Although I do not know the precise strength of the empires, I do know that our divine kingdom of Pingtian is only an ant compared to them. They only need to flick a finger to wipe out our divine kingdom. The Heavenly Moon Empire is one of the 6. They're the closest empire to our divine kingdom of Pingtian. The empire has a total of 3 powerful organizations. One of them is the imperial family, which controls the entire empire. The other 2 are 2 large sects in the Heavenly Moon Empire. They're also extremely powerful, possessing extremely great status in the empire. It's said that even the imperial family must show some respect towards the 2 sections. The Earth Spirit sect is one of them. Does the Heavenly Moon Empire possess primordial realm experts? What about the Earth Spirit sect? And you mentioned earlier that the Heavenly Moon Empire was one of the 6 empires in the southern region of the Cloud Plain. Aside from the southern region, how many more regions are there in the Cloud Plain? Jian Chen asked. Although he had spent a few years on the Cloud Plain already, his understanding of its geography was just too lackluster. Nanyan Tong could not help but be slightly taken aback when he heard Jian Chen's question. The patriarch of the Tian Yuan clan was powerful, but his knowledge was simply too limited. However, Nanyan Tong still explained politely, Patriarch, I do not know whether the Heavenly Moon Empire or the Earth Spirit sect possess primordial realm experts. As for the Cloud Plain, the Cloud Plain is split into 5 major regions. They are the eastern region Zihao, the southern region Blood Sun, the western region Jinjian, the northern region Shi, and the central region Everlasting Tian. The 5 regions have been named like this because each region possesses an immovable eternal empire. They are the eternal Zihao Empire of the eastern region, the eternal Blood Sun Empire of the southern region, the eternal Jinjian Empire of the western region, and the eternal Shi Empire of the northern region. As for the central region, it is ruled by the everlasting Tian Empire. Although there are some ancient empires like the Heavenly Moon Empire in the 4 regions of north, south, east, and west, the 4 eternal empires are supreme existences. They are the true rulers of the region. Only a few divine kingdoms exist in the central region. There is no other empire apart from the everlasting Tian Empire. Chapter 1804, Passing on Laws, 1. If that's the case, the eternal empires that control the 4 regions are far more powerful than the Heavenly Moon Empire. Jian Chen laid back on the patriarch's throne lazily as he tapped a finger on the arm of the throne gently, murmuring to himself. Only now had he finally gained a deeper understanding of the Cloud Plain. Nanyan Tong nodded sternly as he listened to Jian Chen's murmur. He continued, You're right, Patriarch. The 4 eternal empires that control the eastern, western, northern, and southern regions are on a completely different level of power compared to the Heavenly Moon Empire. I've once heard from an over-god that even if the 6 ancient empires of our southern region work together, they won't be able to shake the eternal Blood Sun Empire. Ancient empires. Eternal empires, Jian Chen murmured softly as the light in his eyes flickered. He seemed to be in thought. After a moment of silence, he continued with his questions. what about the everlasting Tian Empire in the central region? Veneration immediately flooded Nanyun Tong's face when the everlasting Tian Empire was mentioned. Respect filled his face as he said gruffly, the everlasting Tian Empire of the central region is much more powerful than the four eternal empires. As for by how much, I have no idea, but I do know that the four eternal empires must lower themselves before the everlasting empire. Even with their power, the four great empires have to behave meekly before the everlasting empire. The power of the everlasting Tian Empire made Jian Chen stern and shocked. Afterwards, Jian Chen asked some more questions about the cloud plane before dismissing Nanyun Tong and everyone else. In the blink of an eye, only Jian Chen, Mo Ling, and Ando Fu were left in the grand discussion hall. Mo Ling and Ando Fu looked at Jian Chen, who was sitting on the throne. They seemed to want to say something, but they were hesitating. What is it? You can tell me directly, said Jian Chen. Mo Ling and Ando Fu looked at each other. Afterwards, Mo Ling clasped his fist towards Jian Chen and said, Patriarch, the entire provincial city is under our Tian Yuan clan's control. Without any exaggeration, it's our territory, yet the businesses we control only amount to 40% of the total. You want to expand our businesses in the provincial city? Jian Chen asked. Mo Ling said, a clan requires cultivation resources to become powerful. Right now, our clan's income is only several 100,000 low-grade divine crystals daily. However, half of this comes from the entry fees of people coming into the city, while the remaining amount comes from our businesses. That only amounts to 3,000 or 4,000 low-grade divine crystals. If you look at the other 5 great provincial cities in the divine kingdom of Pingtian, the clans there basically control 80% of the businesses in the cities. The other clans control the remaining 20%. As one of the clans that control a provincial city, you're the one that controls the least businesses. If we increase the number of businesses a little, we'll be able to make an extremely respectable sum daily. Jian Chen shook his head gently. Even if we can increase our income by several 100,000 low-grade divine crystals a day, it's only several dozen high-grade divine crystals after you convert it. There's no need to force all the other clans in the city to the end of their road just for these divine crystals. Moreover, don't forget that there's also a Wainer clan in the provincial city. Jian Chen continued, more importantly, the two of you haven't truly understood why I founded the Tian Yuan clan. I founded the clan only to provide a shelter for my friends and families. I do not wish to rule. Mo Ling and Ando Fu looked at each other. They probably never expected Jian Chen to give them such an answer. After leaving the discussion hall, Jian Chen directly made his way to the Forbidden Grounds because all the people who had come to the Saints' world with him cultivated there. Yenner, how many times do I have to tell you? You don't use the sword like that, your stab is too slow. Remember, whether it's striking out or pulling it back, you need to be lightning fast. Your sword lacks a certain sharpness, and it also lacks the determination to kill. Just as Jian Chen was making his way towards the Forbidden Grounds, he heard a familiar voice and could not help but look over. He saw Shiyu in white clothes, holding a tree branch as she seriously taught Mo Yen how to use the sword. Mo Yen was either not trying, or the sword really did not suit her. Even though she was now at the peak of sainthood, her usage of the sword was still at the level of a beginner's. Jian Chen came to a halt unintentionally before slowly making his way towards Shiyu and Mo Yen. Patriarch Jian Chen, why have you come? Mo Yen was not trying at all, so she discovered Jian Chen very quickly. She immediately beamed with joy. Shiyu immediately froze up when she heard Mo Yen mention Jian Chen. She slowly put down the branch in her hand and turned around to look at Jian Chen, who had made his way over. Her feelings immediately became rather mixed, and she clasped her fist towards Jian Chen. Shiyu greets the patriarch. Currently, Shiyu's feelings were completely mixed. In the past, she even disdained Jian Chen, yet now, he had become the patriarch of a clan. Even the ancestor of the Mo clan, Mo Ling, had become his subordinate. Patriarch Jian Chen, why have you come here? Aren't you busy? Mo Yen was not as polite as Shiyu towards Jian Chen. She ran over to him and giggled without any regard for politeness. However, when she glanced at Shiyu, who stood to one side with a strange gaze, a mysterious smile appeared on her face. She raised her heels and whispered in Jian Chen's ear, "Patriarch Jian Chen, I already know why you're here. You must like Sister Shiyu, right? You began liking her long ago. Don't think that I don't know. I'll tell you secretly that Sister Shiyu likes you as well. She just can't bring herself to say it." Although Mo Yen spoke very softly, Shiyu was a deity after all. Let alone her whispers, even if she wanted to communicate with Jian Chen secretly, she would not be able to hide it from Shiyu. As a result, Shiyu heard everything that Mo Yen had said, word for word. Shiyu's face immediately became bright red. She was both angered and embarrassed as she glared at Mo Yen. She scolded, "Mo Yen, what are you blabbering about? Stop making up lies." Jian Chen was amused when he Mo Yan's serious expression. He knocked Mo Yan's forehead and laughed, "Mo Yan, you can't say these things anymore in the future, or I'll ground you and stop you from going outside anymore." You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.